latest modern technology in radar is so beneficial and is able to put out a confirmed tornado warning for areas out to the east. On top of that, it also broke a record in Rome for the strongest wind speed at Griffith at 79 miles per hour. A very strong wind that ripped through the city, and unfortunately still plenty of damage and a lot of cleanup looking ahead. Downtown Utica right now, we're still looking at quiet conditions early this morning. Radar is dry, but out in western New York, we're tracking another line of rain showers and storms, but just to put it into perspective, this is going to be nothing like the strength of winds that we saw yesterday. And so today, again, rain showers here and there, a few rumbles of thunder moving through. We're tracking these rain showers, but some good news along the horizon. We've got nice weather approaching. Details on that straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. Well, in Rome, the switch from survival to recovery mode has been made. The National Weather Service will have to confirm a tornado, but judging from the destruction, it will likely be confirmed. Pieces of history in Rome destroyed. A steeple ripped off a church. The iconic B-52 at Griffith knocked off its base, and this damage is just unbelievable here. Out in Canastota, one person died during the storms, and parts of Madison County, all of Oneida County, and the city of Rome are all in a state of emergency, even at this hour. You can head to WKTV.com for more images gathered both by our crews and those that viewers sent in. Now, the American Red Cross has opened an emergency shelter in Rome. It is at the Aviation Center at 394 Hanger Road. Access to the shelter is through Gate 35. Now, this is a safe place to stay, get water, get snacks. Anyone who is impacted by the storm and feels unsafe in their home is welcome. That shelter is open 24 hours a day. And there is a curfew in the city of Rome. No one is to be on the streets until 5:30 this morning, so a little less than a half an hour away. And the shelters on Hanger Road is pet friendly, to let you know that. You can call 211 for non-emergency storm-related help and questions. Now, local elected leaders in Oneida County held a press conference last night to bring the public up to speed on the scope of the damage and what they are doing to help people recover. They're also stressing the importance of heeding the curfew that they set up and staying safe and out of the way of the cleanup crews.
We are working, obviously you see the people that surround me, obviously Rome Police, Rome Fire, other departments are assessing along with our DPW crews from the city of Rome, the county, state emergency management is here. We have established a command center here up at Griffith.
Now, the National Weather Service will be in Rome later today to survey the damage. Local officials will hold another press conference at some point today, and the Rome City Court functions and DMV operations will be moved to Utica, at least for the day today. And taking a look at current power outages, according to National Grid's website, still more than 20,000 here in Oneida County are still without power. Nearly 1,900 without power in Herkimer County. There is no estimated restoration time, and it is just saying that it is assessing the conditions. The website does say where it is safe to do so, crews are removing extensive damage, including downed wires, trees, broken poles, and other hazards, while focusing on public safety, equipment repair, and restoration. They want to remind everyone, never touch downed power lines. Assume they are carrying live electricity and report them immediately to National Grid at 1-800-867-5222, or you can also call 911. And in Rome, the devastation is immense. The Salvation Army was out helping residents pick up as soon as it was safe. DPW crews were quick to take to the streets. Rome Mayor Jeffrey Lanigan says he and other elected officials, DPW and fire crews and volunteers are all working as long as they possibly can to help keep people safe.
Looking around the neighborhood, I would guess it's more than a few. There's a lot of destruction, large apartment buildings that have been significantly damaged.
Those types of things are irreplaceable. Things can be rebuilt, but things along those natures are irreplaceable. So yeah, it's definitely, it tugs on your heartstrings as far as being a Roman and seeing those types of things that, the skyline of Rome, New York has now changed. So but we'll come back, I promise.
And our team coverage will continue today on the storm that spanned several municipalities. Again, the National Weather Service will be in the area today to determine the path of the tornado and to make confirmations. Our meteorologists will be in touch with those teams, and we will also be checking in on those displaced by the destruction, where they can go, and churches and other major pieces of history are all but destroyed. We'll have crews checking in on the damaged area. So again, stay with News Channel 2 on the air and online throughout the day for coverage of this massive storm. Other news now, as the
WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good morning and welcome back. It's currently 5:12, and as we look across central New York early this morning, a lot of activity from some road closures, especially out in the Rome area. To start, though, a live look along the arterial. Some cars moving through, dry conditions temporarily before a few more scattered showers roll through later today. And on our Munson traffic tracker, we do have some road closures to report of, especially in the Rome area, again, as of 5:12 this morning. The first one is along Route 46, Erie Boulevard, both ways between Gifford Road and Levitt Street. So this location right here, road is closed. Then onto 46, Black River Boulevard, both ways between Route 825 and Locust Street. So those two areas in Rome. In fact, a lot of that damage from the tornado crossed over Route 46. Lastly, heading up to near Prospect and Hinckley, where 365 is closed both ways due to a tree blocking the road. So again, still some road closures early this morning. We'll keep a close eye on whether these will get lifted throughout the morning as well, and plus the latest forecast coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Rome and Canastota aren't the only places that saw severe storm damage. We do have some video submitted by a viewer from Piseco. Check this out right here. You can see the extent of the damage. Now, other viewers have sent and posted photos and video of damage in the town of Lee, as well as in the outskirts of Rome and heading toward Marcy. There is such a wide swath of damage. Of course, we're continuing to ask you to share your video and photos at news@wktv.com. In Herkimer, gas pumps appear to be knocked off by storms Monday night, but here's what we're learning from Clifford Fuel. Those pumps were actually detached earlier in the day on Monday because they're being replaced as part of a renovation of the property. So the wind did knock them over, but they weren't actually connected to anything, so there was no gas spillage. The time right now is
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. It's the calm after extremely devastating storms in some part of our region yesterday. Now today, we're still not out of the woods with potentially some more strong storms, but what I can tell you, at least with my assurance, is that these storms will be nothing like what Rome or Canastota or some other locations in Herkimer County saw yesterday. Matter of fact, the severe weather risk, level 1 out of 5, but this is a front that'll strengthen as it heads east outside of central New York. So you notice the darker colors generally towards the Catskill region, and the risks of severe wind will decrease tremendously. And then, of course, following today, much more in terms of quiet, non-severe weather heading into Thursday and Friday. A live view of downtown Utica right now. We're seeing a few clouds starting to move in, and weather, yes, will turn a bit more unsettled as we head into the next few hours. 68 officially, still very humid out, and a live look at the radar right now. Quiet and dry out in western New York. We're seeing that front beginning to arrive once more, but unlike yesterday, these are not severe warned, not lots of lightning, no wind damage coming in from these just yet. But I want to do a quick recap of the storm reports yesterday. Take a look at all these little individual icons popping up. Those are all individual storm reports submitted by all of you folks Again, very beneficial both for us, but also for the Weather Service for issuing warnings. So those of you that submit storm reports, again, a big thank you, because you can kind of see the devastation that this line produced. And that was our fear yesterday, was that this is going to produce either straight line wind damage or just wind damage in general. And unfortunately, we do not like when that verifies, because of course you see damage like what you saw in Canastota and Rome. Humidity, still a little bit tropical today, but humidity drops tremendously as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Comfortable temperatures. Rain showers today give way to isolated showers north and south of the Mohawk Valley tomorrow, but then completely dry weather as we approach Friday and Saturday. And so the broader scale picture, we got this cold front sweeping into central New York. It's going to strengthen a little bit as it pushes east. And then by tomorrow, just a weak trough sweeping through central New York that could fire up a shower north or south of the valley, but most of the Mohawk Valley will remain entirely dry. So heading straight to our skycast today, sunshine to start, clouds increasing, then a few scattered showers and thunderstorms roll through later on today. Then by tonight, things quiet down. Another chance of a spotty shower north and south of the valley tomorrow afternoon, but then we quiet down as we head into Friday. Temperatures in the 70s, low humidity. We're talking about a beautiful day expected to wrap up the work week. And so your next 7 days, a few more showers and storms today, but following that, plenty of sunshine lingering into the weekend and into Monday before our next chance of notable rain showers. Look to hold off until Tuesday of next week. And I think for a lot of us here in central New York, more than deserving for quiet, calm weather with low humidity. And I think that this stretch will continue, at least for the weekend, into next week, again on Monday, but as into Tuesday, rain showers will return. Gary?
Eric, thank you. The time right now is 5:20. Still ahead on Sunrise, local counties are dealing with a problem that's plaguing the nation, child care. And now there's
2024.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And we showed you a lot of the damage earlier in the broadcast, and we'll have more very soon. But boy, this graphic is telling right here.
Yes, and it might be hard to see for those of you watching right now. We'll zoom in just a second. You can see every individual icon right here is a report of storm damage.
Wow.
And this goes from Syracuse, Rochester, Geneva, all through the Mohawk Valley. Of course, the Rome area hardest hit. Out into the Albany region as well, up north into the Adirondacks. So a pretty active day yesterday. So let's zoom into that map so all of you can see it on your screens early this morning. Again, every individual icon right there is a report of storm damage. So this just goes to show you just how strong that system was yesterday. And on top of that, the tools we used to confirm that tornado in Rome yesterday was from the radar. We had two systems, a velocity scan. We could see the reds and greens next to each other. And on top of that, very concerning is when you start to see what's called the debris ball, or a location in the radar that indicates that there's debris in the air by detecting the different shaped objects in the sky. The radar can actually detect that. It's a new technology that is very beneficial in saving lives, because that's where a confirmed tornado warning was issued, which was for the areas out to the east. Now, downtown Utica right now, a few more clouds rolling in, and although it's quiet temporarily, a few more showers and some thunderstorms will roll through later on today. So again, next 12 hours, a little bit on the unsettled side. We'll keep a close eye on the radar today, but again, for my assurance to you, we're not looking at anything as severe as yesterday. Just a few more showers and storms rolling through central New York. But again, we'll talk about that, plus the good news regarding the weather heading into that rest of the week and that forecast straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And due to yesterday's storms, Governor Hochul has declared a state of emergency. Hochul cited the damage to the city of Rome and areas in Madison County. She says state agencies are engaged in response operations right now. More than 170,000 customers in the region are without power. The state has deployed dump trucks, loaders, chippers, and other resources to help with the cleanup. And as a result of the City of Rome's state of emergency, Rome Health has activated its emergency management plan to help care for the community. Rome Health says the Goldberg's Building and Community Recovery Center on Dominic Street were both severely damaged in the storm. This is at 264 West Dominic Street. It's the back of the Community Recovery Center. Rome Health's prenatal care clinic is located in the Goldberg's Building at 155 West Dominic Street. And as a result of the storm damage, that clinic is closed today. Churches, homes, and businesses are damaged and destroyed, but much in the path of this storm was spared. Here is a look at one of those churches in the city of Rome that was damaged. You can see the clock from the church on the ground, pieces of the roof from some businesses or homes ended up across the city. Many memories are held in the walls of these historic buildings, and later today we check in on the damage and the cleanup. Now, News Channel 2's Ben Kinney had a look at the damage last night.
In a matter of seconds, the Rome skyline was changed forever. An apparent tornado ripping through downtown just before 3:30 Tuesday afternoon. The city's iconic Paul Revere mural collapsing from the strength and the weight of the wind. The B-52 bomber at Griffiths shifted off its mounts. Congressman Brandon Williams described what he saw when he first arrived to the scene.
Residents are walking around dazed. Many of them are organizing to try to clear the debris. The Department of Public Works was out very quickly and clearing some of the streets so first responders could get in. And I just saw a lot of cooperation. I saw a community that really was coming together to help one another.
Does anyone need anything to eat or drink?
The Salvation Army arrived on West Dominic Street as business owners and residents began to pick up the pieces.
Looking around the neighborhood, I would guess it's more than a few. There's a lot of destruction, large apartment buildings that have been significantly damaged. So my guess is there are a lot of people who are going to be in need. And even if the rest of the building is usable, they'll need to check the buildings for structural integrity before they'll let anyone in.
The sheer power of the storm could be seen at two churches, St. Mary's and the First Presbyterian. Iconic to Rome's landscape, now destroyed.
It's those types of things are irreplaceable. Things can be rebuilt, but things along those natures are irreplaceable. So yeah, it's definitely, it tugs on your heartstrings as far as being a Roman and seeing those types of things that, the skyline of Rome, New York has now changed. So, but we'll come back, I promise.
Georgian Arms apartments also hit by the storms. Residents there loaded onto buses. They will be relocated to apartments in Utica. The National Weather Service says they will be in Rome tomorrow to survey the damage as a community shaken to its core by Mother Nature's fury begins the road to recovery. Reporting in Rome, Ben Kinney, News Channel 2.
A state of emergency has been issued for parts of northern Madison County. That includes the town of Lenox, the village of Canastota, and the city of Oneida. There are power outages, impassable roads, and crews are still assessing the damage. Barlow Street in the village of Canastota is under mandatory evacuation. A shelter has been set up at the Canastota Fire Station at 127 East Center Street. There is no unnecessary travel in Canastota at this time. Now to Decision 2024, a wrap-up of Day 2 of the Republican National Convention and a look ahead at Day 3. Here's NBC's Bree Jackson.
Good morning and welcome back. As we show our photo of the day today, normally we show photos of beautiful scenery, rainbows, impressive storm clouds, but today we need to show what Mother Nature is capable of. This is a photo of a flipped car in Rome. And the reason why I'm showing this is that officially Griffiths and Rome reported 79-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Now, to flip a car, you have to think of just how strong some of these winds are, and it would not be shocking between 90, 100-mile-per-hour winds do have the potential of flipping small cars like this. And with the fact that the official reading was at 90, or was at 79, I should say, miles per hour, the fact that another gust could have strengthened enough to flip a car like this is not out of the realm of possibility. So again, this just goes to show you just how strong the winds were yesterday in Rome. And although we have lots of photos of this in the Rome area, which was the hardest hit, unfortunately a lot more areas did see some damage as well as some flooding. We'll, of course, talk about if we're going to be seeing any more risk with the storms today in that forecast straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The Verona Beach State Park swim area is still closed because of an algae bloom. We first told you about this back on Sunday. The State Department of Environmental Conservation has an algae tracker where you can look up information on blooms can produce toxins and some don't. The splash pad and water slide are still open at the park. Cornell University has been studying why the mayflies have been so bad at Oneida Lake this year. And if you weren't there in June, here's what.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. A quiet start to the day today as temperatures have fallen into the 60s with still some notable humidity. We'll let you know exactly when that humidity does come to an end. A live look in Oneonta right now as the sun is just below the horizon. A pretty nice shot right here facing the eastern sky. Downtown Utica, a few more clouds rolling in as temperatures are in the upper 60s with still, again, very humid conditions. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Again, we're quiet here locally right now. An approaching front will produce some scattered showers and potentially some rumbles of thunder later on today as we head into the afternoon and evening. And matter of fact, with the storms today, they will strengthen as they push east, but mainly outside of central New York. We can't rule out a stronger storm in the Otsego, Shenango, southern Herkimer County area just yet, but with the storms today, they will likely, in fact, almost certainly not be nearly as intense as the storms yesterday. But before I get to the forecast for the next few days, emphasize those that are wondering about the storm surveys for today. The Weather Service in Binghamton will be going to Rome late this morning and then heading back to Canastota this afternoon to assess the storm damage down there. So 2 locations will be assessing today, and depending on the timing, they might have the Rome survey completed today, maybe have to wait till tomorrow for the Canastota survey. Humidity still tropical today, humidity decreasing throughout the rest of the week, still with rain chances today. Isolated shower north and south of the valley tomorrow, but then smooth sailing with dry weather as we head into Friday and Saturday. Broader picture, here comes that cold front sweeping through central New York today. Again, it strengthens south and east of us, so we're not talking about seeing the brunt of any of these storms. In fact, mainly garden variety in areas out to the east. Or out in the west, I should say. Then a trough to the north will sweep through, bringing the chance for an isolated shower north and south of the valley. So again, clouds move in, scattered showers and storms later on this afternoon and this evening. Then we quiet down tonight. Partly cloudy, patchy fog in the valley. You see those isolated showers moving through tomorrow afternoon, but then we quiet down with sunshine as we head into Friday. But that sunshine will stick around into the weekend. Low 80s, low humidity relatively as well, with temperatures continuing to remain in the low 80s for Monday and warming up a little bit on Tuesday with a chance for a few scattered showers. Be right back.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
Looking at that devastation, boy, it's just hard to imagine what came through here yesterday, but you have some video, right?
Yes, this is the video from the camera MVCC just showing how strong the winds were in Rome yesterday. Look at the trees.
Yeah.
They are almost sideways with the amount of wind that rolled through. So we had a lot of wind come through the area yesterday. Matter of fact, let's take a look in more detail on what happened, not only in cameras, but also through the radar. We use something called the dual pole radar, which is a newer technology that not only detects rotation in the atmosphere, which is vital for determining tornadoes, but on top of that, it detects debris. And you can notice this on the radar. Those of you who know a little bit about radar, you can probably detect it. It kind of stands out a little bit. This circle right here, this is what the radar indicates as debris or things in the atmosphere that don't aren't symmetrical. It notices that and it sends that signal back, indicating there's things like tree branches, like pieces of glass, of that type of stuff that's asymmetrical, and it uses that to indicate there's debris on the ground. This is life-saving technology that is used to put a confirmed tornado warning out in, near the Holland Penn areas out to the east. So that was what happened yesterday. Again, the technology that we have with at least radar coverage now is just extremely beneficial, and we're so glad we're able to use it to bring the latest information directly to you guys, especially in situations like that where life-saving information is needed immediately when it happens. Downtown Utica right now looking a bit quiet. In fact, a pretty colorful sunrise out in the distance. Radar is quiet and dry here locally, but again, we're keeping an eye on the radar as a few more showers and storms roll through today, but thankfully nothing like the destruction we saw yesterday is expected for today, with temperatures climbing into the upper 70s, near 80 degrees. Still a bit humid out, but humidity drops and dry weather moves in as we look ahead to the end of the work week. Details on that straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. Well, in Rome, the switch from survival to recovery mode has been made. The National Weather Service will have to confirm a tornado, but judging from the massive amount of destruction, it will likely be confirmed. Pieces of history in Rome destroyed. A steeple ripped off a church. The iconic B-52 at Griffith knocked off its base. And in Canastota, one person died from the storms. Now, parts of Madison County, all of Oneida County, and the city of Rome are all under a state of emergency. And you can head to WKTV.com for more images gathered both by our crews and those that viewers sent in. Now, the American Red Cross has opened an emergency shelter in Rome. It's at the Aviation Center at 394 Hanger Road. Access to the shelter is through Gate 35. This is a safe place to stay, get water, get snacks. Anyone who has been impacted by the storm and feels unsafe in their home or needs some water or snacks is welcome. That shelter is open 24 hours a day starting today. And there was a curfew in the city of Rome. No one was to be on the streets until 5:30 this morning. And by the way, that shelter on Hanger Road is pet friendly as well. You can also call 211 for non-emergency storm-related help and questions. Now, local elected leaders in Oneida County held a press conference last night to bring the public up to speed on the scope of the damage and what they are doing to help people recover. They also stressed the importance of heeding that curfew that was set up and staying safe and out of the way of cleanup crews.
We are working, obviously you see the people that surround me, obviously Rome Police, Rome Fire, other departments are assessing along with our DPW crews from the city of Rome, the county, state emergency management is here. We have established a command center here up at Griffith.
And as you heard Eric mention, the National Weather Service will be in Rome later today to survey the damage. Local officials will hold another press conference at some point. Also today, the Rome City Court functions and DMV operations will move to Utica. And taking a look at power outages, according to National Grid's website, still more than 20,000 people here in Oneida County are still without power. Nearly 1,900 without power in Herkimer County. There is no estimated restoration time, and it just says that it is assessing conditions. Now, the website does say where it is safe to do so, crews are removing extensive damage, including downed wires, trees, broken poles, and other hazards, while focusing on public safety. Now, they want to remind everyone, never touch downed power lines, assume they are carrying live electricity, and report them immediately to National Grid at 1-800-867-5222, or you can just call 911. In Rome, the devastation, as we mentioned, is massive. The Salvation Army was out helping residents pick up as soon as it was safe yesterday. DPW crews were quick to take to the streets, and Rome Mayor Jeffrey Lanigan says he and other elected officials, along with the DPW and fire crews and volunteers, are all working to keep people safe.
Looking around the neighborhood, I would guess it's more than a few. There's a lot of destruction, large apartment buildings that have been significantly damaged.
those types of things are irreplaceable. You know, things can be rebuilt, but things along those natures are irreplaceable. So yeah, it's definitely, it tugs on your heartstrings as far as being a Roman and seeing those types of things that, you know, the skyline of Rome, New York has now changed. So, but we'll come back, I promise.
And a very busy day ahead for so many folks out there in affected areas. And our team coverage will continue today on the storm that spanned several municipalities. Again, the National Weather Service will be in the area to determine the path of the tornado in Rome and to make confirmations. Our meteorologists will be in touch with those teams, and we will check in on those displaced by the destruction. Where can they go? And churches and other major pieces of history are all but destroyed. We'll have crews checking in on the damaged area. So stay with News Channel 2 on the air and online throughout the day today for coverage of this massive July storm. Other news now.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good morning. It is 6:11 and we're taking a look at what's going on the roadways across central New York on your Munson CommuteCast. And to start out, let's take a live look at downtown Utica right now. Few sunny clouds out in the distance, dry to start, and overall pretty dry here across the Mohawk Valley. But as you notice, we're here on our traffic tracker, our Munson traffic tracker, that we do have some incidents to report. In fact, new ones that just came in recently. So let's talk about first the road closure along Route 46, road blocked due to emergency repairs along 46 Erie Boulevard, both ways between Gifford Road and Levitt Street. Secondly, let's head to the east. Road blocked both ways on 46 due to repairs and storm damage between 825 Chestnut Street and Locust Street. And now I'm going to be dragging this map over here because we have two more incidents to report of. In fact, early this morning, road blocked on James Street from Embargo to Court Street. That's for this location right here. And then finally, looking at this road closure just submitted due to debris on road and storm damage at Dominic Street, both ways between Washington Street and Garage Street. So again, this is the storm damage here in Rome. Lastly, heading to 365 near Hinckley and Prospect, there's a road blocked as well due to a tree on the road between Summit Street and Main Street. So a lot of damage yesterday. There's still some roads that need cleaning up, so just exercise caution. Maybe find a way to have any extra detours if you're heading out to the Rome area or the locations later today. Gary?
Rome and Canastota aren't the only places that saw severe storm damage. This is video submitted by a viewer from Piseco. Right here you can see the extent of the damage coming up. Other viewers have sent and posted photos and video of damage in the town of Lee, as well as other areas on the outskirts of Rome. And heading toward Marcy, there is such a wide swath of damage. We ask you to continue to share your video and photos to us so we can share them with others. You can do so at news@wktv.com. In Herkimer, gas pumps appeared to be knocked over by storms Monday night. But here's what we're learning from Clifford Fuel. This is video from the next morning right here. And those pumps were actually detached earlier in the day on Monday because they're being replaced as part of a renovation of the property. So the wind did knock them over, but they weren't actually connected to anything, so there was no gas leakage. The time right now is 6:14. Here's a live look.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. Before we get to the forecast, I want to add additional information that I was going to mention in the previous segment as well, that the City of Rome Police Department have continued the no unnecessary travel protocol. If you do not have the necessity to travel in the Rome area, they recommend avoiding travel and, of course, treat every power line as if it is live because there is still plenty of damage around the city. But now on a lighter note, let's take a live look in Oneonta. Beautiful shot of the sunrise early this morning. But a few more clouds will roll through today, and we're still going to have to remain weather aware as a few more storms will arrive in some locations this evening. A live view of downtown Utica. Again, some sunshine, blue skies, but rain showers will develop as we head into late morning, early afternoon. Temperatures upper 60s. Still very humid out. And the radar, quiet and dry for now out in western New York. We're seeing a few more showers starting to develop ETA again by the late morning and early afternoon. But before I get to the humidity change the next few days, take a look at this right here. This, at least all these individual little icons, are reports of storm damage yesterday. Each one. This is something we don't typically see here in New York State. Extensive damage going from Rochester to Albany, even into parts of Vermont, with not just Rome, Canastota, parts of Ilion, parts of Herkimer County, heading closer to areas north of Albany. Again, lots of damage yesterday from what was left of a mesoscale convective vortex. So today, again, weather aware, but we're not talking about anything like on the scale of yesterday. A few more storms will roll through. They'll likely strengthen as they shift east past Little Falls, past the Otsego County line into areas out near Albany, but we're on the fringe of it. So make sure you're, again, you're weather aware. Down the app below me, scanning it with your phone, it'll send you weather alerts if things do turn severe. Humidity today, still a little bit tropical. However, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, low humidity. We're talking about beautiful weather heading into the end of the work week. Now, scattered showers and storms today, isolated shower and storms tomorrow. In fact, I think more so just on the shower side. I don't think any rumble of thunder are possible. Then Friday and Saturday, of course, conditions do dry out. Broader picture, cold front moving through the area. This will again fire up those showers and storms across the region. A trailing trough north of us could produce an isolated shower north and south of the valley tomorrow, but that's really about it with rainfall potential for the near term, as you can see here. Clouds increasing by noontime, a few showers and storms rolling through, and then will dry out. And then overall, besides an isolated shower tomorrow, mainly dry, not only for Thursday, but heading into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Beautiful stretch of weather ahead with low humidity. Looking about beautiful weather for Thursday and Friday. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Be sure to like us on Facebook and
2024.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And boy, that devastation over in Rome is hard to look at. So many folks going to have to deal with that today, and I know you have some video of the storm that came through yesterday right in Rome.
Yes, this is a video of the winds, and just to give you guys an idea of how strong they were, look at the trees blowing. Almost looks like it's in the middle of a hurricane. And credit to MVCC in Rome for having this video here, because you can see the extent of the winds. Now let's take a look at what we saw on the radar, because not always do we have access to cameras in the brunt of a storm like this. So we use technology, what's called a dual pole radar. In this case, it's the velocity scan. Now, with reds and greens next to each other rotating like this, you can kind of see the somewhat rotating type of the system right here. But the thing that made us radar confirm the tornado was this. This is called the correlation coefficient, or debris signature. And we were able to pick up a debris signature outside of Rome. This is what was detected on radar, and this is what allowed warnings to be issued, confirmed tornado warnings to be issued for areas out in the east near Floyd, Holland, Patton, heading into Herkimer County, that area as well. So this technology, it's newer, it's not brand new, but it is newer, is life-saving, to put it lightly. The fact that we have the ability to see that, because again, with a tornado like that, you can't see it. It's rain-wrapped, embedded in a long line of thunderstorms, and the only way to detect it is with radar. Now, a live look at downtown Utica right now, much more in terms of quiet weather early today, but again, we gotta remain weather aware as a few more showers and storms roll through later on this morning into this afternoon. And of course, a few of them could be on the stronger side, south and east of our area. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail. But again, today, temperatures in the upper 70s, low 80s. We'll of course provide updates on the weather for today, plus some good news regarding nice weather for the rest of the week in that forecast straight ahead. Gary.
Eric, thanks. And because of all the storm damage, Governor Hochul has declared a statewide state of emergency. Hochul cited the damage to the city of Rome and areas in Madison County. She says state agencies are engaged in response operations right now. More than 170,000 customers in the region were without power at the height of the storm. The state has deployed dump trucks, loaders, chippers, and other resources to help with the cleanup. And as a result of the City of Rome's state of emergency, Rome Health has activated its emergency management plan to help care for the community. Rome Health says their Goldberg's Building and Community Recovery Center on Dominic Street were both severely damaged in the storm. Rome Health's prenatal care clinic is located in the Goldberg's Building at 155 West Dominic Street. And as a result of the storm damage, that clinic will be closed today. And in Rome, churches, homes, and businesses badly damaged or even destroyed. Not much in the path of the storm was spared. Here is a look at one of those churches in the city of Rome. Pieces of roofing from some businesses or homes nearby ended up all across the city. News Channel 2's Ben Kinney had a look at some of the worst damage last night.
In a matter of seconds, the Rome skyline was changed forever. An apparent tornado ripping through downtown just before 3:30 Tuesday afternoon. The city's iconic Paul Revere mural collapsing from the strength and the weight of the wind. The B-52 bomber at Griffiths shifted off its mounts. Congressman Brandon Williams described what he saw when he first arrived to the scene.
Residents are walking around dazed. Many of them are organizing to try to clear the debris. The Department of Public Works was out very quickly and clearing some of the streets so first responders could get in. And I just saw a lot of cooperation. I saw a community that really was coming together to help one another.
Does anyone need anything to eat or drink?
The Salvation Army arrived on West Dominic Street as business owners and residents began to pick up the pieces.
Looking around the neighborhood, I would guess it's more than a few. There's a lot of destruction, large apartment buildings that have been significantly damaged. So my guess is there are a lot of people who are going to be in need. And even if the rest of the building is usable, they'll need to check the buildings for structural integrity before they'll let anyone in.
The sheer power of the storm could be seen at two churches, St. Mary's and the First Presbyterian. Iconic to Rome's landscape, now destroyed.
It's those types of things are irreplaceable. Things can be rebuilt, but things along those natures are irreplaceable. So yeah, it's definitely, it tugs on your heartstrings as far as being a Roman and seeing those types of things that, the skyline of Rome, New York has now changed. So, but we'll come back, I promise.
Georgian Arms apartments also hit by the storms. Residents there loaded onto buses. They will be relocated to apartments in Utica. The National Weather Service says they will be in Rome tomorrow to survey the damage as a community shaken to its core by Mother Nature's fury begins the road to recovery. Reporting in Rome, Ben Kinney, News Channel 2.
A state of emergency has been issued for parts of northern Madison County. That includes the town of Lenox, the village of Canastota, and the city of Oneida. There are power outages, impassable roads, and crews are still assessing the damage. Barlow Street in Canastota is under mandatory evacuation. Now, a shelter has been set up at the Canastota Fire Station. That's at 127 East Center Street. There is no unnecessary travel at this time. Now to Decision 2024, a wrap-up of Day 2.
Welcome back to News Channel 2 at sunrise. Normally in this segment, I showcase a beautiful photo of the day submitted by all of you, but I think that yesterday's weather is justified to show a photo like this to just give a sense of the sheer strength of Mother Nature, and that sometimes we do take that strength for granted, especially when we're talking about a car that was flipped by the winds in Rome. Now, the official reading at Griffiths Airport in Rome was 79 miles per hour with a wind gust. And with that in mind, this would not be shocking to say maybe 80, close to 90 mile per hour winds, enough to flip a car like this. Just to give you an idea of just how strong the winds were to be able to take a car on its all four wheels and flip it completely upside down. So again, just still plenty of cleanup to do in Rome. Our thoughts are with everyone affected by this, not only in Rome too. Although it was the most affected, there are still locations all across central New York that still are doing the cleanup process right now. So again, speaking of Rome, we're going to give you guys an update on what's going to be happening this afternoon with survey teams, at least this morning, this afternoon as well. And then on top of that, any additional updates on the weather coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Cornell University has been studying why the mayflies have been at a lake this year. And if you weren't there in June, here is what you missed. Social media was inundated with pictures and videos of the insects. This is Park Avenue, right in front of Harpoon Eddies. And this is the sculpture outside of Captain John's restaurant. The waterborne insects had all but disappeared 60 years ago. Now here is the ice machine at the Dollar General. Wow. Cornell found that quagga mussels in the lake provide nutrients to the mayfly larvae. And since the invasion of the mussel, the lake is more clear and the mayflies, well, more populated. And here's where a bad mayfly season is actually a good thing. Cornell says mayflies are a food source for walleye perch and smallmouth bass. The time right now is 6:48. Here's
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. It was definitely a busy day yesterday weather-wise. In fact, destructive day as storms rolled through central New York, bringing damaging winds to a lot of locations. But let's start on a bright note this morning. A live look in Oneonta, clear skies with a beautiful shot of the sun rising. And what will start a brand new day here in central New York as the cleanups will begin for some communities, especially the Rome area, starting today. Downtown Utica right now, clouds starting to move in a little bit, but temperatures upper 60s with very humid conditions still in place right now. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Again, we're dry for now, but out in western New York, we're starting to see a few scattered showers beginning to roll in. Our thoughts are it won't really pick up until later on this morning, the early part of this afternoon. And as we turn our attention to the storm reports yesterday, to give you an idea of just how notable this event was, each individual icon right here on your screen is a storm report. And just goes to show you just how many reports have been issued yesterday, how many reports of destruction took place, trees down. Unfortunately, though, in Rome, where the worst of it was. Now, noted photojournalist Keith Hunt and I will be up in Rome later today to take a look at some of the damage, as well as meet up with the National Weather Service team, which will be surveying damage. And those of you wondering about Canastota, they're going to Rome to survey first in this late morning, and then heading to Canastota this afternoon to survey the damage down there as well. So 2 locations the Weather Service of Binghamton will be surveying today. But still, you're going to have to remain weather aware for this afternoon and this evening, as the line of showers and storms moving in later today will strengthen as they head south and east into this area of the dark green and yellows. But thankfully, the strongest of that will be south and east of our area. Humidity dropping today into tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. Same thing with rainfall chances. Scattered showers today, less of a chance Thursday, and then dry Friday and Saturday. Reason why? Cold front sweeping through our area starting out this afternoon and this evening. And as you can see here in our Skycast, dry to start, rain showers moving in. Then they'll exit to our east along with a few thunderstorms. Then an isolated shower north and south of Mohawk Valley tomorrow as a weakened trough moves over our area. But that's about it with rainfall potential as we head into the next 7 or so days, because by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, lots of sunshine, lowered humidity. And on top of the weather going on right now, if you have any questions regarding the weather today or the weather we saw yesterday, I'm doing a Facebook Live on our WKTV weather page on Facebook at 7:40.
Now, the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And we have a lot to get to this morning, especially plenty of damage to several areas after those storms moved through, and most likely a tornado moved through over in Rome.
Yes, that's right. And I want to head straight to a video because to give you an idea of how strong the winds were in Rome, a big thank you to the MPCC campus in Rome for providing this video on the live stream on their website. Look at the winds whipping through the parking lot at MPCC, and this could have been easily 70, 79. In fact, the official reading in Griffith and Rome was 79 miles per hour. It could have been even more in some spots. And as Gary mentioned, possible tornado. We would say, based off the radar indication, confirmed tornado, based off of two things. Now, there wasn't any visible sight line of it, but there was rotation moving through the city, damage obviously, but also on the correlation coefficient or debris tracker, you could see a debris signature indicated by a circle shape right here. That's textbook tornado on the radar. And so this was radar confirmed tornado that moved through the area. And then on top of that, the Weather Service in Binghamton will be coming up here to survey the damage to officially put a tag of tornado on it, as well as how strong it was between EF0, EF5. All the latest information will be coming up later today or by the latest tomorrow. Downtown Utica right now, a few clouds moving in, and it's dry to start, but out in western New York, a few showers and thunderstorms are beginning to creep into our area. And so today, again, dry start, clouds increasing, scattered showers and storms this afternoon. A few of them could be on the stronger side, especially heading south and east towards the Catskill region, but most of us will just see a typical garden variety shower or storm. But following today, we've got nicer weather on the horizon. Details on that straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. In Rome, the switch from survival to recovery mode was quick yesterday. The National Weather Service will have to confirm a tornado, but judging from the destruction, it will likely be confirmed. Check this out right here. Pieces of history in Rome destroyed, a steeple ripped off a church, the iconic B-52 at Griffith knocked off of its base. All that damage right there, oh my goodness. And over in Canastota, one person died as a result of the storms. Parts of Madison County, all of Oneida County, and the city of Rome, all under a state of emergency. You can head to WKTV.com for more images gathered by both our crews and those that were sent in by viewers. Now, the American Red Cross has opened an emergency shelter in Rome. It's at the Aviation Center at 394 Hanger Road. Access to the shelter is through Gate 35. Now, this is a safe place to stay, get water, get snacks. Anyone who has been impacted by the storm and feels unsafe in their home is welcome, or just needs water or snacks, you can head there. The shelter is open 24 hours a day starting today. And there was also a curfew in effect for the city of Rome until 5:30 this morning. That has expired. But again, the shelter that has been set up at Hanger Road is also pet friendly, and you can call 211 for non-emergency storm-related help and questions. Local elected leaders in Oneida County held a press conference last night to bring the public up to speed on the scope of the damage and what they're doing to help recover. They also stressed the importance of heeding that curfew that was set up and staying safe and out of the way of cleanup crews.
We are working, obviously you see the people that surround me, obviously Rome Police, Rome Fire, other departments are assessing, along with our DPW crews from the city of Rome, the county, state emergency management is here. We have established a command center here up at Griffith.
The National Weather Service will be in Rome later today to survey the damage. Local officials will also hold another press conference at some point. And also today, the Rome City Court functions and DMV operations will move to Utica. And taking a look at power outages, according to the National Grid's website, still more than 20,000 here in Oneida County still without power, including myself at home. Still no power. Nearly 1,900 without power in Herkimer County. There is no estimated restoration time. For status, it just says assessing condition. So far we don't have any idea of when power will be turned back on. Now the website does say where it is safe to do so, crews are removing extensive damage, including downed wires, trees, broken poles, and other hazards while focusing on public safety. They want to remind everyone, never touch downed power lines, assume they are carrying live electricity, and report them immediately to National Grid at 1-800-867-5222 or simply call 911. In Rome, the devastation is immense. The Salvation Army was out helping residents pick up as soon as it was safe to do so yesterday. DPW crews were quick to take to the streets. Rome Mayor Jeffrey Lanigan says he and other elected officials, as well as the city's DPW and fire crews, and even volunteers, are all working to help keep people safe.
Looking around the neighborhood, I would guess it's more than a few. There's a lot of destruction, large apartment buildings that have been significantly damaged.
Those types of things are irreplaceable. Things can be rebuilt, but things along those natures are irreplaceable. So yeah, it's definitely, it tugs on your heartstrings as far as being a Roman and seeing those types of things that, the skyline of Rome, New York has now changed. So, but we'll come back, I promise.
And our team coverage will continue today on the storm that spanned several municipalities. Again, the National Weather Service will be in the area to determine the path of the tornado and actually make a confirmation that there was one. Our meteorologists will be in touch with those teams. We'll also check in on those displaced by the destruction and where they can go. Churches and other major pieces of history all destroyed, and we'll be having crews check on the damaged areas as well. So stay with News Channel 2 on the air and online throughout the day for coverage of this massive storm. Other news now. Later today, the Oneida Indian Nation, the Turning Stone Resort and Casino, and World Lacrosse League will announce the details of a historic statewide after yesterday's storms. Hochul cited the damage to the city of Rome and areas in Madison County. She says state agencies are engaged in response operations. More than 170,000 customers in the region were without power at the height of the storm. The state has deployed dump trucks, loaders, chippers, and other resources to help with the cleanup. While in Rome, churches, homes, and businesses are badly destroyed. Not much in the path of the storm was spared. Now here is a look at one of those churches in the city of Rome that saw bad damage. Pieces of roofing from some businesses or homes ended up all across the city. News Channel 2's Ben Kinney had a look at some of the worst damage last night.
In a matter of seconds, the Rome skyline was changed forever. An apparent tornado ripping through downtown just before 3:30 Tuesday afternoon. The city's iconic Paul Revere mural collapsing from the strength and the weight of the wind. The B-52 bomber at Griffiths shifted off its mounts. Congressman Brandon Williams described what he saw when he first arrived to the scene.
Residents are walking around dazed. Many of them are organizing to try to clear the debris. The Department of Public Works was out very quickly and clearing some of the streets so first responders could get in. And I just saw a lot of cooperation. I saw a community that really was coming together to help one another.
Does anyone need anything to eat or drink?
The Salvation Army arrived on West Dominic Street as business owners and residents began to pick up the pieces.
Looking around the neighborhood, I would guess it's more than a few. There's a lot of destruction, large apartment buildings that have been significantly damaged. So my guess is there are a lot of people who are going to be in need. And even if the rest of the building is usable, they'll need to check the buildings for structural integrity before they'll let anyone in.
The sheer power of the storm could be seen at two churches, St. Mary's and the First Presbyterian. Iconic to Rome's landscape, now destroyed.
It's those types of things are irreplaceable. Things can be rebuilt, but things along those natures are irreplaceable. So yeah, it's definitely, it tugs on your heartstrings as far as being a Roman and seeing those types of things that, the skyline of Rome, New York has now changed. So, but we'll come back, I promise.
Georgian Arms apartments also hit by the storms. Residents there loaded onto buses. They will be relocated to apartments in Utica. The National Weather Service says they will be in Rome tomorrow to survey the damage as a community shaken to its core by Mother Nature's fury begins the road to recovery. Reporting in Rome, Ben Kinney, News Channel 2.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. We are starting out the day, thankfully, with quiet weather. However, we have a few more showers and storms to get through today, but let's start out on a brighter note as we got a live look in Oneonta right now with plenty of sunshine, temperatures in the 60s to start, and will remain in the 70s, potentially low 80s if we're lucky. But we're not looking at high heat and humidity or any heat advisories like what we saw the past few days. Downtown Utica, plenty of sunshine, temperature 70 degrees with mostly sunny skies and very humid conditions. And a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Quiet for now, but again, out in western New York, we're starting to see another cold front move through. This could fire up a few showers and storms heading into this afternoon and this evening. But before we get to the weather forecast for today, I just want to do a quick recap of the amount of warnings, at least the amount of storm reports, that is, that got issued across the area. All these icons are reports sent in by all of you to the Weather Service, to us, to anyone who was able to notify folks that there was damage indicated. And you can see just how extensive this damage is. This is something that doesn't happen too often here in central New York and will definitely be remembered for a good amount of time. But today, again, another day to remain weather aware. Thankfully, though, we're not talking about anything quite like what we saw yesterday, but there could be a few embedded stronger storms along this line as it strengthens when it moves south and east into the Mohawk Valley, eventually the Hudson Valley area later on today. Humidity high today, low Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Very more than welcome relief expected as we approach the end of the work week. And same thing for rainfall. Scattered showers today, isolated shower tomorrow, dry Friday and Saturday. Broader picture, cold front sweeping through today. This will fire up those showers and storms. And in fact, zooming in, we can see them start to arrive late this morning, early this afternoon. Clouds will increase, and we'll see those showers and storms move through. They could strengthen a little bit as they head into Otsego, Herkimer, Fulton, Montgomery counties. And then as they exit out to the east, rain showers taper off overnight. Isolated shower north and south of the valley tomorrow, but the valley itself remains mostly dry. 7-day forecast following the showers and storms today. Again, isolated shower tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine ending the work week with low humidity and temperatures in the upper 70s.
PM yesterday, high winds touched down here in Rome and all the way out to Canastota. And I spoke to the county chairman in Madison and the mayor of Canastota and offered all of our support for them as well. We also had 3 other tornadoes touch down. Warren County, Hamilton counties as well. Well, let's talk about Rome since we're here. 22 buildings, major structural damage, 4 entirely destroyed. As I mentioned, the 7th floor of the Georgian Tower collapsed. The building next to our Office of Mental Health is now unsafe to enter. And as you see behind us, the steeple blowing off the church, St. Mary's, the First Presbyterian, lost part of its roof. Over in the village of Canastota, tragically there was loss of life. An 82-year-old man, Robert Popple, still determining the specifics, but a neighbor reports he was out trying to check on his antique car outside and was swept away. Let's just recognize this 82-year-old who just was out there living life as one does and unexpectedly swept from us. Let's honor him in a moment of silence. Thank you. So in Canastota, 3 homes collapsed, 30 structures damaged. Red Cross also has a shelter there as well. Now, I don't want to bring bad news back, but we also came through Lewis County just a few days ago. Serious flash flooding, 7 inches of rainfall in the village of Lowville. And state personnel have been on the ground for a week there. If you're ready for this as well, the Canadian wildfires are back. As you recall, last June, Syracuse and the city of New York had the worst air quality on the planet for a period of days because of the smoke coming from the Canadian wildfires in Quebec. We just received reports that that is starting. We're not expecting air quality to be that compromised over this next week, but I want everybody to be ready for this. Be ready for this. We'll get out more warnings on what people need to do to prepare. So to deal with this, you know my team's on the ground. I also said we need more help. We need help with cleanup. We need help with the people. So as of now, I've deployed 50 National Guard to continue with the storm response. They'll help remove debris from public areas and provide assistance as necessary. We also need the money, right? We need money to rebuild. I spoke with Majority Leader of the United States Senate, Chuck Schumer, and our Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. Both of them have committed any assistance we need with FEMA, but as you know, we first must calculate the scale of the damage. It has to exceed $37 million in public damage, meaning to roads, bridges, infrastructure, public buildings, libraries, schools, offices. Once that is calculated, we can put in a request and ask for a declaration of disaster from the federal government. So the White House is aware. I've already reached out to them. FEMA has been notified as well. So I've spoken to our leadership team in Washington, and they're ready to assist. So at the state level, we do have some discretionary funds for capital work like roadway repairs if the federal dollars are not sufficient. Our Office of Faith and Nonprofit Services has money to help with churches and religious institutions. And what's really important for those who are trying to figure out how to manage the whole idea of getting insurance coverage for their properties and their homes. The Department of Financial Services is deploying their disaster strike team, and they'll literally set up a trailer people can walk up to. I've seen it many times, that they can get assistance on how to file their claims. So we'll be there for them as well. So we still have our Emergency Operations Center operational right now. We have our Incident Management Team. We have our Office of Fire Prevention. We have our K-9 search and rescue teams, countless individuals. Even just all the debris that's on the streets look good. That's because teams descended quickly, and we call send in the equipment to cut trees and clear debris. And I continue to have the public service with utility workers ready, 5,000 people deployed. So I'm ready to wrap up, but there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here. And as I said to the mayor and the county executive many times, whatever you need, we're here to help. We're not abandoning you. And as I said, starting tonight, severe weather storms are expected again, extending here in Rome all the way across the eastern half of the New York. And the highest risk is the capital region to Long Island. More trees coming down, more wires down, localized flash flooding, and it's going to be very hot. Much of the state is now covered in 90-degree weather. It feels like 100. Some parts of our state are going to feel like $105 degrees. Good news is, exactly 1 year ago, I stood at a podium like this. 200 miles away in a community called Highland Falls, they had just experienced what was defined as a 1,000-year flooding event. Destroyed the downtown, water raged through as if there were no streets. It was all part of the river. As I said on that day, and have been saying since I became governor, these extreme weather events are no longer the abnormal. They are the new normal. And so this summer, as we're experiencing historically early heat wave, the most ever tornado warnings, and now this horrific event in the Mohawk Valley, this is going to be what we're going to expect from here on out. But we're ready, we're prepared. The state of New York will not abandon our communities. So as I look around, I just want to say again, I'm so grateful for the partnership that we have with our local officials. It means everything, and hopefully inspires the confidence of a community that has been struck with a disaster that they never could have imagined. But we will rebuild, we will come back, and we will be stronger. With that, I'd like to turn it over to County Executive Tony Picente.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. As the governor said, it was minutes after this event had happened. I was in this office with the mayor, who we've been kind of joined at the hip for the last 20 hours or so, except for a few hours of sleep. And, you know, and along with Senator Griffo was with us, but minutes, really, before it even settled. The governor had called, offered resources, and obviously we were ready and willing and grateful for what happened. The cooperation between the state of New York, the county of Oneida, the city of Rome has been unparalleled. We've been working, as the governor said, around the clock. We've been establishing various, you know, the command center up at Griffiss International Airport. You know, the terminal building is where the command center is, led by Chief Kevin James, who's the incident commander. The sheriff has been with us throughout and, you know, continues. So this has been, as the governor said, a team effort. What we are dealing with now is, you know, continuing the cleanup that has to take place here and really an assessment of the overall damage that has taken place. We have obviously, you know, while City Hall is open for, you know, essential businesses, our county offices and court facilities in the city of Rome are closed. For the time being, we will be establishing some temporary work up at and offices at Griffiss for the time being until we can establish something more stable and permanent in the downtown area, recognizing that people have a hard time getting there. But in terms of social services, mental health, you know, any of the other human services needs, the county is responding and is setting up offices accordingly. We'll continue to do that as we continue to clean up. Our public works crews are working with Rome, and we've had offers from, you know, various towns, villages, cities to assist with that, along with state DOT. I won't mention all of the people that the governor already did, but I want to thank all the commissioners that are here and have been at the ready from the moment this thing hit. And you know, I would ask, the other thing is really the credit right now goes to the first responders. I want to especially call out, you know, and you know, with my colleague here who's going to speak in a moment, the mayor, Rome Police Department, Rome Fire, who have been outstanding. Oneida County Sheriff's Office, thank you, Sheriff, have been outstanding. New York State Police, public work crews. That, you know, everybody here are literally working around the clock and will continue to do so until we get this cleaned up. Obviously, this comes at a difficult time. It's never a good time. Certainly no time of year, but this is a time of celebration in the Mohawk Valley, you know, whether it's in the city of Rome or in the city of Utica or in elsewhere, you know, throughout this county, and this is the time we're enjoying summer, and we will enjoy summer. We will get there because we will clean up, we will rebound, we will rebuild and do everything we can. We do need the cooperation of the public to please stay out of the way of our emergency workers as they're cleaning up the debris. There's still power lines down. There's still, you know, very hazardous situations. We don't need sightseeing right now. We need people to let the crews do their work and get this job done. But once again, to the governor, for her being here today is very important. For her, you know, calls all last night. Again, I want to thank her. We come together in these emergencies like no other state, I think, and I want to thank you for that, Governor, and for the team behind you. And with that, I will turn it over to my partner, who we've been kind of joined at the hip for the last 20 hours, and that's Mayor Jeff Flanagan. Mayor.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. I want to first say thank you so much to the governor for her incredible assistance throughout this process right from the beginning. Like we said, within minutes, we were working on this together, and I thank you for everybody that's here today and everybody that you sent right from day one. County Executive Vicente, thank you to you. You were here within probably 20 minutes, and we have been joined at the hip, so I appreciate everything you guys have done. Senator Griffo on the state side and Assemblywoman Mary Ann Buttonshaw, same thing. We have an incredible group here within Oneida County that is always willing to help, and that's exactly what we've done to get us to the point that we are right now, which is, if you saw this place at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, you would have never thought we'd be here where we are right now, to be able to walk the streets and even drive the streets. And I give that kudos to our local boots on the ground. These guys risked their lives running to calls that were coming into 911, even to the point where 911 shut down at one point that they couldn't even take any more calls. And these guys were on the street, and I thank all of our local city employees, our men and women. You guys did an incredible job to get us to this point, because you were the first ones here, and you guys risked it all to be out there in that. So I thank each and every one of you for that. To our residents of Rome, do not be discouraged. This community is resilient, and we will build back. This is not something to get down on. We're here for you. We are not just somebody that lives here or serves here. Senator Griffo being the former mayor, county executive is deep-rooted in Rome. Assemblywoman Marianne Buttonshon is deep-rooted. This is not just some place we serve. This is our community, and we will make sure that everything gets done here to make this exactly what it was before yesterday's tragedy. And you have the reassurance of everybody standing here in front of you that that will happen, and it will happen quickly. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not going to sit around and wait for things to happen. We're going to make it happen. And I promise you today that will happen. So please be safe, like the county executive said. Let these guys do their job. We're asking to please stay out of their way. We know everybody wants to help, and we appreciate that's what this community does. The smallest tragedies to the most largest ones, as you're seeing today, everybody just wants to lend a hand. But we were truly blessed to have no major injuries and or deaths in our community, and we do not want to see that ever happen in the cleanup efforts. So please be cautious, stay out of their way, let them get that done, and please be safe, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Governor.
All right, folks, we have time for a couple of questions about the storm and recovery. If you can, Chris.
I'm wondering how New York State plans to build resiliency as we keep seeing these high weather events and they're having an impact on state and local resources.
Resiliency takes many forms. You know, communities that live along rivers, for example, where we were last year with the 1,000-year event, you build up the embankments, you lift up houses and buildings to higher levels, you literally lift up sidewalks and streets to be able to accommodate higher water levels and minimize future damage. But something that comes out of the sky so wildly unexpectedly, like a tornado, is more challenging to build resiliency for. You don't have a clear path. If you live along a waterway, you have a path, you can identify the most vulnerable areas. You can prepare. When it comes so randomly, and the path that you look at this take, it goes like this, it is more challenging, but I think it's how you deal with the aftermath as well. You know, to have teams that are trained, they're integrated, no one misses a beat when there is a disaster, getting notices out to people, letting them know the resources that are available to help them build back. You know, we're looking at, finding out if Nourish New York can provide more assistance to the food bank here, how we can provide the social services in other locations, with many of them are state employees as well. Identifying all the problems that arise in the aftermath and hitting them hard and dealing with them. But if there's anything else, anybody else to say about resiliency for anything else like this, Catherine? No? Okay, we're good. Okay. If someone knows how you can plan for a tornado and prevent it, you let me know, because we are now becoming a tornado alley. When you think about what happened last week, touchdown in Western New York, literally a community next door to my hometown, homes damaged, barns, loss of life of animals. So it hit all the way from Western New York, clearly across the state to hit here now. So it is difficult to plan for, but we're very focused on the aftermath and how we can make sure that people are protected after a storm like this hits.
Over here.
As I understand, isn't Honor America Days coming up next week, Mayor? What are you going to do about that?
That's correct. We have Honor America Days next week, and we're actually working on that. We will not cancel it. I've spoke with the chamber this morning, and it will not be something that is canceled. It is a possibility that it will be moved to a later date, but we're working on that, as the parade route is actually one of the worst areas that was hit during this storm. So we'll have an update on that hopefully by the end of the day.
You said 22 buildings that were damaged. That include homes as well, because if you're driving down the street, there's a lot more.
What is the number?
No, we're really doing an assessment on homes right now.
This is building. This is not
it's
homes.
more buildings. It's more buildings. We think many homes were impacted.
Yeah.
Depends on the level of impact.
And you guys said no major injuries. Do you know how many hospitalizations, those numbers?
I had spoken to the hospital. The mayor and I were in contact with them. They had some typical emergency room visits, but some normal activity and things like this, but nothing serious, bangs and bruises and things like that. Nothing that raised to a level that we had to look and see what else could there be. So, as we said, no serious injuries were.
Governor, I know you got the tour of the damage. Just behind you, such a striking image of that church destroyed. You've seen a lot of damage in New York State. I haven't seen this kind of damage locally. Just wondering your thoughts on what you saw.
No, a tornado has unique characteristics. I mean, anything in its way is struck down, whether it's the trees, the cars that are overturned, the devastation, the damage to the vehicles that are unrecognizable. But then a building that's been here since 1890s, that endured all these years. I mean, this community itself goes back to the late 1700s. Nothing like this has ever hit this part of our state. I will tell you, and certainly not the 3 years I've been governor. So no, this is next level damage that I've witnessed. It's very different than flooding, where you're walking through flooded, the water's up to your knees. You're going through damaged areas all the way up from Lake Ontario to the Hudson Valley, Long Island. I've seen all the flooding. Even a hurricane is damaging, but this is a unique weather event, which by its nature destroys what's in its path. This is heartbreaking to me.
Last one over here.
How confident are we from speaking to those who would know whether or not we would meet that $37 million threshold? And is that strictly municipal damage? And is that Oneida County role? What are the boundaries? And would that money be for municipal government, whatever, repairs, or would that trickle to owners?
The criteria is that for the federal FEMA reimbursements, and we spoke to the White House again today, $37 million of public damage. Now that could be a bridge, a culvert, roadways, government buildings, libraries, schools, as well as what you think of as traditionally government buildings. So there are a lot of structures that would be encompassed in this. We are also defining this as not just Oneida County. This is the same tornado that hit Canastota. So you would add up the damage in the village there and other damage in Madison County with this and aggregate the two when you do your application. Would I like to add the damage done in Lewis County last week in Lowville? We'll try, but I don't know that I can identify that that's the same weather event, other than it's the same week, and these are extreme conditions. So we'll do everything we can to get the most money we can. Again, Chuck Schumer asked me to say, I will do everything I can to get every penny that's eligible to come back to the state. So we're accustomed to doing this. We've had to do this for historic blizzards and floods throughout the state. But is there anything else I missed on that, Catherine?
No, you're correct, but I think the other piece is that you've committed.
Yeah, the state money.
I just want to reiterate what the governor raised before, is that she is putting state resources behind the effort to rebuild here, and we'll work with the local officials to define what that looks like, but we're already working with our Division of Budget to find those pots.
And I just as declaring the state emergency from the county with alongside the governor, we've committed in working with the mayor. Oneida County is putting $3 million towards this cleanup event and towards anything needed over the next several days that we've appropriated with the approval of the Board of Legislators. So, we'll be able to purchase what we need and get the resources, obviously, other than, the various manpower that we have. We're going to need other things such as equipment, repairs, electrical pieces, generators, other supplies. Whatever we need, we'll take care of it over the next couple of weeks.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Liberatore.
And thank you for joining us here for News Channel 2 at noon. As you just heard, Governor Hochul made her way to Rome after yesterday's extreme storm damage, just wrapping up her storm damage press conference. And our own Jolene Ferris is out there right now. We're going to get to her in just a short bit. But first, we're going to turn to meteorologist Eric Gage, who is also live out in Rome today. And he is actually in touch with the folks from the National Weather Service. And he joins us now from Rome with more. Eric, good afternoon to you.
Yes, good afternoon, Gary. I am here live in Rome right now where the cleanup effort is still underway. In fact, right behind me you can see an overturned camper. Due to the winds, apparently there were people inside. However, we do not know the extent of the outcome of their injuries, if they were injured at all. So you can see here the cleanup has just taken place. The trucks have moved in within the span of the last 5 minutes. And not only are they cleaning up this location right here, they're also doing a cleanup on some other locations out to the right of me. Matter of fact, the roof on that building completely torn off. But the most shocking thing to me is when we turn our attention to the apartment building way out to the right, where not only are their windows shattered, but also the entire side of that part of the building is just completely gone. And so you can just see some of the extent of the damage here on West Dominic Street this afternoon. But again, the community is coming together. There's a lot of people coming in to do some cleanup. The sheriff's office in Oneida County is out here as well with a drone taking video of all the damage across the region. And again, a lot of this damage in this main area as well. We're going to keep a close eye on some of the other locations across Rome that are still seeing damage across at least not only in West Dominic Street but beyond to the shopping mall, well off to my left. So again, what we're talking about right now is just lots of damage. Thankfully, though, the Rome Capitol Theater, you can't really see it behind me, but thankfully the damage, no damage has been reported from there as well. But there are some locations where you can help to volunteer. As a matter of fact, if you want, you can volunteer by sending an email to volunteer@romecitygov.com. That's volunteer@romecitygov.com. The City of Rome is more than willing to accept those who are able to come out and volunteer and help on this cleanup effort. Again, coming into this area, I didn't expect it because I saw it in pictures. I didn't quite see it in person and to the extent of what's going on across the region. So for now, I'm going to send it back to you, Gary. We're going to get in contact with the National Weather Service and see if we can interview them in the span of the next half hour.
Eric, thanks, and we'll keep in touch with you to see if you do catch up with those folks in the next half hour or so. And let's recap some of the worst damage in Rome again. This is where the press conference was just a few minutes ago. That church pretty much destroyed, at least as far as the roof goes. And now the switch from survival to recovery mode was drastically fast yesterday. Just a scary scene for whoever was out in that area yesterday around 3:30 in the afternoon. Again, the National Weather Service is in Rome at this hour trying to determine exactly if it was a tornado and what the strength was. Now, pieces of history in Rome destroyed, a steeple again ripped off a church, the iconic B-52 at Griffiths knocked off its base. And in Canastota, sadly, one person died during the storms, actually swept away, we are being told, as the governor mentioned. He has been identified as 82-year-old Robert Popple of Canastota, according to CNY Central. Now, parts of Madison County, all of Oneida County, and the City of Rome still in a state of emergency. And meteorologist Jill Reel in for us this noon as Eric is out reporting in Rome. And you were live yesterday on the air when this came through, and man, it came quick.
Yeah, we started our live broadcast on Facebook around 2:30. Then we went on TV at 3. We were tracking this storm. We noticed the signature on the radar before the National Weather Service confirmed it. So we made sure that the viewers, even if they lost power, if they were on their phones, had the information because they listened. That's why we didn't have any major injuries in Rome, which we're very thankful about. But I want to show you this video. This is from the Rome MVCC campus, and you can just see right there that tornadic winds making its way through the Rome area. This is what we were looking at around 3:30 when I was live on air. You notice the difference in those colors between the greens and the reds and even those hot pinks. That hot pinks indicates some very high wind. That is that rotation. This is what the National Weather Service looks at when they issue tornado warnings. And I just told Gary, when we were live on the air, we saw what we call a debris ball, or debris signature. This indicates that there's something in the air besides rain. So at this point in time, this is when we have that confirmed, radar confirmed tornado. Now today, the National Weather Service is in Rome, and they will give us the rating and the wind speed, the width, and the path of that radar-confirmed tornado. And we'll, of course, pass that information along to you as we get to it. Now, for today, we are going to continue to track some pop-up thunderstorms, but if you look at the radar, pretty much gives you an idea of what's going to happen today. To the south and east of the Mohawk Valley, to the south and east of central New York is the best chance for some thunderstorms. We can't rule out a passing thunderstorm locally, but majority of what we're going to see for this afternoon is not going to be severe or strong. We are going to see some rain showers, and we are going to see a few thunderstorms, but not on the severe side. So just want to point that out. As we go throughout the afternoon, we will see those showers move on through. As we head into tomorrow, big drop in the humidity. We'll look at that forecast coming up. Gary?
Joe, thanks. And as you just heard before our broadcast started, the governor is in Rome surveying the damage and addressing the media. And our own Jolene Ferris was there for it all. She joins us now live from West Liberty Street in Rome with more. Jolene, good afternoon to you.
Thank you, Gary. The governor was here, of course, with Rome Mayor Jeff Lanigan, Senator Joe Griffo, Assemblywoman Marianne Buttonshine, and Oneida County Executive Anthony Picenti. She could not overstate the extent of the damage, her shock over what she saw, calling this the worst event in Rome's 228-year history. Made a lot of promises today. The state would do all they can for help, and if the damage reaches the threshold, municipal damage, they're hoping for assistance from FEMA. Some encouraging news for homeowners. She said the state would deploy crews to set up and sort of like help people fill out paperwork. That's a big concern when things like this happen. Is the paperwork going to be onerous, insurance and whatnot? Will it be months until I get any sort of financial help or relief? So that was encouraging to hear her talk about deploying crews like that. But honestly, it is surreal to travel through Rome and see these images right in front of your eyes that we would normally see on a sterile TV screen depicted somewhere in the Midwest or far from here. But the damage is devastating, very severe. But again, we have a promise of help, and the governor saying she's in contact with federal officials in terms of bringing federal assistance here, and she's gone for now, and we're going to try to get going ourselves. We see a lot of people around here we want to interview about the damage and about life afterward. As Mayor Jeff Lanigan said, they will build back better, and life goes on. Back to you.
Jolene Ferris live for us in Rome this afternoon. Of course, you'll have much more tonight at 5 and 6. And a reminder, a lot of folks heading to the areas of Rome that were badly damaged, but the officials there are asking people to stay away, let all the folks doing the cleanup do their job. Definitely stay away from that area if at all possible. And because of all the damage in Rome, the Red Cross has set up a shelter for folks who need it. This is at the Aviation Center at 394 Hangar Road, Gate 35 in Rome. The Red Cross is providing shelter, meals, snacks, and water to anyone that has been displaced by the storms. Again, that is located at 384 Hangar Road at the Griffiths Business Park, where loads of beds, food, water, and charging stations are all set up. Red Cross from all over the area have people in town, volunteers, including from down in Dutchess County, helping out. Now, taking a look at power outages. According to National Grid's website, still more than 17,000 here in Oneida County without power. That is down about 3,000 from around 6 o'clock this morning, and still nearly 1,900 without power in Herkimer County. That is only down about 25 since 6 o'clock this morning, so much more progress being made in Oneida County right now than Herkimer County. There is no estimated restoration time. For status, it just says assessing condition. So National Grid crews out doing everything they can, and their website does say that where it is safe to do so, crews are removing extensive damage, including downed wires, trees, broken poles, and other hazards while focusing on public safety. Now, they want to remind everyone, never touch downed power lines, assume they are carrying live electricity, and report the downed lines at 1-800-867-5222. That's National Grid, or you can actually call 911. And because of road closures in Rome, Centro bus routes have been impacted. Centro has resumed operations for a couple of routes, but enter that building, you're asked to wait for buses outside Liberty Street. Now, the service that has resumed includes Bus 2 to Walmart and Bus 5 along Black River Boulevard and Rome Hospital, again with detours. Bus 6 to Griffiths is not operating just yet, and on-demand service has limited locations. A Call-a-Bus for individuals with disabilities has limited locations as well. Now, all bus fares are being waived until further notice. Again, do not enter the transit hub. Meanwhile, a state of emergency has been issued for parts of northern Madison County and remains in effect at this hour. That includes the town of Lenox, the village of Canastota, and the city of Oneida. There are power outages, impassable roads, and crews are still assessing the damage there. We're told that officials will address the media at 1 o'clock this afternoon in Canastota for the very latest there. Meanwhile, Barlow Street in Canastota is under mandatory evacuation. A shelter has been set up at the Canastota Fire Station. That's at 127 East Center Street. There is no unnecessary travel at this time. And the American Red Cross has opened an emergency shelter, as we mentioned, in Rome. Once again, it is at the Aviation Center at 394 Hanger Road. Again, if anyone who has been displaced needs help, that is the place to go for folks that have been impacted by the storm. The shelter is open 24 hours. Again, that is on Hanger Road. You can also call 211 for non-emergency storm-related help and questions. And now let's take a look at the former Duofold plant in Ilion. Check this out right here. Badly damaged during yesterday's storms. The village bought the long vacant property back in 2019 and last year sold it to developers called the LaHinch Group. Their development plans called for commercial space on the bottom 2 floors and apartments on the top, but now obviously a lot more work will need to be done, if not demolished there. And this video was submitted by a viewer in Piseco over in Hamilton County. You can see the extent of the damage there. Now, other viewers have sent and posted photos and video of damage in the town of Lee, as well as other outskirts of Rome and heading toward Marcy. There is such a wide swath of damage. Of course, we're continuing to ask you to share your video and photos at WKTV.com. And of course, stay with us on the air and online for more storm coverage throughout the day. And we also want to add that National Grid is going to be distributing dry ice and bottled water from the area of the emergency shelter. Again, that's at 394 Hanger Road. That the distribution is happening from 1 to 5 today. And stay with us. We are back with a look at today's forecast and more with Jill right after this.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Jill Rio.
Relatively quiet weather across central New York compared to the last couple of days. As we take a live look at our Nexus camera downtown Utica, we are seeing some darker clouds beginning to move in, but this is associated with some rain that's beginning to make its way into central New York. Now, these rain showers are going to usher in more in the way of some comfortable weather over the next couple of days, but it is still very humid outside. Our current conditions, we're at 78 degrees at Griffith Park. You got to factor in that humidity. Again, that humidity right now, that dew point of 68 makes it feel like 80 degrees. So we're under that very humid category, but that is going to change as we head into tomorrow. So very tropical outside. You step outside, it does not feel good, but you will notice for the first time in probably a month or so, we're seeing comfortable weather for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and into the rest of the weekend, and even leading into next week, which is some great news. Finally can give those air conditioners a rest over the next couple of days. We're going to see a lot of comfortable temperatures across the region. Now, on our Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar pretty much depicts what our forecast is going to be for this afternoon. You will notice to our east, back towards the Capital District region, towards the Hudson Valley. That is the best bet for thunderstorms for today. For central New York, we will see that rain that begins to move in from the west as we go throughout the afternoon. Now, we can't rule out a thunderstorm or two, but we're not talking about severe weather for this afternoon into the evening hours. That is going to be confined to the south and to the east of central New York as you head towards the Capital District region, down towards the Hudson Valley and New York City. So for us, we will continue to see some showers moving in from the west. You see that rain back towards Oswego and Rochester. That's going to be moving in as we go throughout the afternoon hours. Behind it is when we're going to see that refreshing air begin to move on in across the region. So as we go throughout the afternoon, as I pointed out, the best chance for severe weather is pretty much out of our viewing area. It will be to the south and east of Utica. But if we do have a few thunderstorms, we may have some gusty winds as well as some pockets of some heavy rain. But you will notice on our Skycast, again, scattered showers will move through the area as we head throughout the afternoon into the evening hours. But by 8 o'clock, we'll begin to dry out. You will notice those temperatures drop and the skies clear out. So by tomorrow morning, we're starting off in the 50s and low 60s. You will notice lots of sunshine, especially for the afternoon into the evening hours, and temperatures only in the 70s to near 80 degrees as we head throughout the afternoon with lower humidity across the region. So for today, again, scattered showers throughout the afternoon. Temperatures will be in the 80s tonight. We'll see temperatures drop back into the low 60s, something we haven't seen in quite some time. And taking a look at the rest of your forecast for tomorrow, a beautiful day, nice stretch of weather for Thursday, Friday into the weekend with low humidity, lots of sunshine, and temperatures in the upper 70s to low 80s. More news coming up.
Welcome back. We continue our storm damage coverage this noon. Meteorologist Eric Gage is in Rome for us and has been in contact with the folks from the National Weather Service who will determine whether it was indeed a tornado that touched down yesterday. Eric, good afternoon once again to you.
Excuse me. Good afternoon, everyone. We are currently sitting right outside the former St. Mary's Church, where, as you can see, the destruction on the steeple and the roof has been just absolutely devastating. But most of the building is still standing. Unfortunately, though, some glass still shattered on the outside. And I want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. We're both here in Rome right now. And to begin, I want to just mention the EF scale, because I know the Weather Service is here right now. They're taking ratings, they're doing surveys at this point, and they're going to come out with a number later on. But let's talk about the EF scale.
Yeah, so I got a chance to talk to the Weather Service here. They were here moments ago surveying the damage, looking at the steeple, and they have a lot of work that they're doing, but they told me that the worst of the damage that they've seen so far, again, this is all preliminary, is where the tornado initially touched down. And so what they do when they come out here is they look at the buildings, they look at the wind direction, and they try to assess what the wind speed is going to be. And it's a process, and they come up with a number, that's the EF scale. I'm not going to leak anything out because this is still a work in progress, but this is likely going to be one for the record books one way or another as one of the most strongest for the county. But again, I'm going to let them come up with the survey and release the results later today.
Yeah, that's right. And again, like, they're doing several things regarding surveying the damage, building damage, overall the wind speed being factored in as well. And as you mentioned too, when it comes to EF scales, it's a combination of those. And with them, after surveying everything, they'll of course come out with that rating later on. I'm thinking, do you think later on today, or would it be a longer?
I think they're probably going to have everything wrapped up here before the end of the day. So all the storm damage, I mean, it's incredible. But I think one of the most bizarre things that I've never seen before, some of these cars were. Like the example, the one over here, there's flat tires on the roadside. I don't know how to explain that one. That just seems to be very strange. I mean, I could only speculate. Maybe the car was lifted and then it was pushed down violently, but there wasn't any other damage to the car. So that one's a strange one. And I'm not an engineer, but that was just my own observation in terms of how I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, and the damage around here is pretty unique, at least from my experience. I've not gone through an event like this before here in central New York, at least since I remember. So again, they're going to put out a rating possibly later today, and when the information does come out, we'll of course provide it. For now, we'll send it back to you.
And as you can see, our meteorology team busy all over the region. Jill in this noon for us here in the studio. And you were mentioning that we had a pretty strong tornado quite a while ago.
Yeah, so at least locally, our strongest tornado we've seen was in Boonville. I think it was 1980. That was an EF3, but back then it was just an F3. And then I witnessed, unfortunately, the EF2 that was in Smithfield, which is in Madison County. I think it was 2014, where unfortunately 4 people did die from that. And I was there when I saw the damage, and houses were gone.
Yeah.
So we will see the National Weather Service, you know, they take their time. They are experts at this. So I know some people got upset about last week how it was an EF0 and it should have been stronger. They know what they're doing. So we can leave it up to them to put that information out there.
And as far as today, the governor was mentioning some strong storms, but those are mostly towards Albany and south of us, right?
Yeah, so for today, we are going to see some scattered showers across the region, but the best bet for that severe weather is going to be south and east of us. I know people are a little hesitant now, you know, a little wound up just from yesterday. We're going to be okay, and then we see a nice stretch of weather coming
Beautiful.
up.
And the rest of the week looks pretty good.
Yeah, no more humidity.
Can't beat that.
Great hair weather. But anyways, here's the video of that tornado, radar confirmed tornado that moved through the Rome area yesterday. This is the camera at the MVCC campus in Rome. Again, the National Weather Service will continue to conduct their survey not only in Rome. I know a lot of people are asking. They're going to Canastota after Rome, so they have a very busy afternoon. So we'll see if we get that information to us. But coming up, I'll have your full forecast. Garrett?
Jill, thanks. And of course, stay with News Channel 2 on air and online for the latest storm coverage for the rest of the day. Other news today, though, is day 3 of the Republican National Convention. NBC's Bree Jackson is on the floor of the Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee with more for us this noon.
The Republican National Convention, we saw some of former President Trump's former rival.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Jill Rio.
Welcome back. We have seen a stretch of some very humid weather across central New York, but finally a break in the humidity after today. Today we are still dealing with very humid conditions across the region, but notice we're back to comfortable weather as we head towards Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and stretching into the rest of the weekend. What I am tracking for this afternoon into the evening hours is a cold front. Now, you will notice that there are some thunderstorms to the east of central New York, and that is where the best chance of thunderstorms will be as we go throughout the afternoon. Not in central New York, to the south and to the east of central New York, closer to the Capital District region, down towards the Hudson Valley, and closer to New York City. For us, we are going to be tracking some rain that is developing to our west. That is associated with that cold front that is going to bring us some refreshing air as we head into tomorrow. So do expect some scattered showers to develop as we go throughout the afternoon. But the best chance for that severe weather looks to be outside of our viewing area, again, closer to the Capital District region, down across the Hudson Valley, and then into Massachusetts as well as Connecticut. But for us, we will be tracking some rain across the region, so do expect scattered showers to move into the area as we go throughout the afternoon hours. By tonight, the rain does come to an end. Some refreshing air will move in as we head into tomorrow. So again, for today, temperatures will be in the low 80s with scattered showers this afternoon. For tonight, we'll drop back into the low 60s. Finally, some comfortable sleeping weather as we head into tonight. And check out this beautiful 7-day forecast. Finally a break, Gary. We're finally catching a break. Lots of sunshine and very comfortable weather.
And that cool weather overnight, a day late and $1 short. Last night, my power went out. Opened the windows. It was still hot.
Yeah, I feel bad for all the people without power today, but there is some relief in sight in the way of weather.
Let's hope it comes back on soon.
Yes.
Jill, thanks. And because the Red Cross has set up a shelter for folks who need it. It's at the Aviation Center at 394 Hanger Road. That's Gate 35 in Rome, if you're familiar with that area. The Red Cross is providing shelter, meals, snacks, and water to anyone displaced by the storms. Again, that is located at 384 Hanger Road at the Griffiths Business and Technology Park. There are beds, food, water, and charging stations also set up. The Red Cross has volunteers from all over the region, including some down from Dutchess County right here in our area helping out. And also, National Grid is going to be distributing dry ice and bottled water from the area of the emergency shelter. That's 394 Hanger Road in Rome. The distribution is happening from 1 to 5 today. Coming up, we'll take a look at what the team's working on for 5 and 6, plus Howard is in the Mr. Food Kitchen.
News with Kristen Copeland.
Oneida County is still in a state of emergency because of the tornado devastation, and there is a curfew in Rome. You must be inside by 8:30 p.m. The city looks like a war zone. The National Weather Service has investigated, and in the last hour is calling this tornado an EF2 with 135-mile-per-hour winds. It's going to be a long recovery. Roofs peeled off houses, trees ripped from the ground, cars, trucks, an RV turned upside down. South Rome facing some of the worst wind damage. We went there today. This is video from Henry Street, where cleanup is far from over. Massive trees collapsed on houses, roots uplifted. Gas lines coming from the ground, ripped out of the ground. Residents in this area are still without power. They're shaken up about this event they thought they would never experience in their lifetime.
Girlfriend, she called me, and she kind of just sensed that something was happening. She grabbed the baby, and she got downstairs, and then that's when the trees started going and falling, and she heard the power lines get hit, and yeah, she just went and was holding the baby and just trying to stay by somewhere secure. Work was able to go and let me go and come down, and I sprinted home, drove down here, and there were just a bunch of commotion, trees down. You can smell the gas.
We're going to continue to hear survivor stories throughout this broadcast, including News Channel 2 at 6. One of the most shocking storm damage images out of Rome was a chunk of Georgian Arms apartments missing from the 7th floor, which collapsed. It's becoming devastating, and when you consider all of the elderly and disabled tenants who live there, News Channel 2's Jolene Ferris spoke with a tenant and management.
It's really surreal to drive around Rome and see the kind of damage you would normally see depicted on your TV screen somewhere in the Midwest. The tornado was brief, but it's going to take a long time to recover from it. Rudy Beeman is probably alive today because he wasn't home yesterday.
And a piece of roof from the welfare department building came through there and into my apartment. And all my whole living room is destroyed and everything I had in there.
Rudy lives here at Georgian Arms Apartments in Rome, the building with the huge chunk missing from the 7th floor, likely damage from a tornado that decimated Rome on Tuesday.
The 7th floor had basically caved in. It had a implosion from a neighboring, I think, an HVAC projectile that caved in the whole 7th floor of the apartments.
Randy Denton could not believe the scene unfolding before his eyes.
We had some residents that were currently at home at the time that we were able to evacuate. They were under a pile of rubble, but thankfully nobody was hurt. I know I was born and raised here, and I would never have expected to see something like this in our lifetime.
Liberty Affordable Housing put Georgian Arms tenants up in area hotels. They don't know for how long.
So weeks, maybe more months.
Hard to say, yeah.
Jolene Ferris, News Channel 2.
Governor Hochul toured the damage in Rome today. Local elected leaders, many of them Romans, walked beside her along the streets they grew up. Streets now littered with tree branches and parts of buildings. The governor says she's deployed 50 National Guard members to Rome. She was stunned by the level of devastation and promised the state's help in recovery.
This is the worst event to ever hit the city of Rome in its long 228-year history. And what's really important for those who are trying to figure out how to manage the whole idea of getting insurance coverage for their properties and their homes. The Department of Financial Services is deploying their disaster strike team, and they'll literally set up a trailer people can walk up to. I've seen it many times, that they can get assistance on how to file their claims. So we'll be there for them as well.
We'll keep you updated on that. The governor will also push for federal FEMA aid, but the municipal damage has to reach $37 million for that money to flow. U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer says he and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand are already calling on FEMA to quickly approve a disaster declaration if it's requested. The city of Rome is thanking nearby communities for support, and a lot of people are asking what they can do to help. If you are able to donate goods or your time, email volunteer at romecitygov.com. City officials say needs are still being assessed, but they will get back to you. If you live in an area with storm damage and need non-emergency help, you're urged to call the United Way's resource line at 211. You call 211 or you can text 898-211. Folks answering will help you find resources to deal with a crisis caused by the tornado. Life-threatening emergency, of course, you can still call 911. An emergency shelter is operating at 394 Hanger Road in Rome. You would access the shelter through Gate 35. The Red Cross is there with cots, water, snacks, and other immediate needs. This is for anyone who feels their home is not safe.
The county gave us this hangar to use as a shelter for the folks. It's someplace where they can sleep overnight, get out of the elements. We'll feed them, give them refreshments, water, snacks.
I drove around, and as we were driving around, we did a tour of all the damages, and people were saying, "Well, who's that?" And we pulled up, and it was just a neighbor that had a vest on, a traffic vest, and he's waving a flashlight and directing traffic. And that's really that's how Rome is. People are ready to step up and help out any way they can.
The shelter is open 24 hours and it is pet friendly. Let's get you over to the Weather Center. Let's talk about what happened. You observed the damage, Bill. You talked with some folks out there, the National Weather Service, obviously coming to town to investigate. We never thought we'd see something like this, experience something like this.
It's incredible to have something of this magnitude touch down in a city without more loss of life is I can't even explain it. Yeah, it literally is a miracle. So we've got the damage assessment in, at least part of it. In EF2, the important thing is the wind. This is a high-end EF2. To get to an EF3, it's 136, so this was at the very upper limit of the two. That's an incredible wind speed. The full storm survey, again, is expected later this evening with the path, length, and exact timing of this. Interesting note, the last F2 tornado, it was the old system back then, happened in 1990, which also hit Griffiths Air Force Base. An interesting piece of trivia. But again, it's been since 1990 that we had something this strong in Oneida County. The weather is quieting down. We do have a few showers in place. There is a cold front that's going to be moving in from the west, but the ingredients are not there to produce any strong weather like we saw yesterday. Again, it's still very humid outside, dew point of 68, but again, things are going to be cooling off tonight as this front heads to the east. And we're looking at nice weather that will be setting up in its wake. Temperatures this evening in the 70s with a passing shower. A nice stretch of weather ahead. Look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Yesterday was a day you wanted the Storm Tracker 2 app on your phone, especially if you were away from a TV or didn't have power. Scan that QR code with your phone's camera. The app has a lot of weather information, including radar, temperatures, the forecast, but you're also going to get push alerts in an emergency. Oneida County still has more than 11,000 homes and businesses without power, and more than half are in the city of Rome and the surrounding area as well. National Grid has hundreds of crews, outside crews, working to restore power in the city, but we are told it's going to take time. National Grid expects the outages to take a couple of days to fix. They first start with the transmission towers, then the substations, and then to individual streets. First order of business is to address emergency management areas.
We're looking at those critical facilities, hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, places where people are on life support. We're looking at making sure that the infrastructure that keeps the community running during a situation like this is receiving power, and then we keep moving out till we can get individual homes on.
National Grid is warning people to stay away from any downed power lines. One power line pole, by the way, can take as much as 4 to 6 hours to replace, so National Grid is asking for patience. The company does post estimated restoration times on its website. We're going to try to keep you updated on that. Assessing the condition is what's posted right now. National Grid today was giving out dry ice. That distribution event has ended, though. Centro Bus has resumed operations for a couple of routes in Rome, but the Rome Transit Hub is damaged. Do not enter the building. You're asked to wait for buses outside Liberty Street. The service that has resumed includes Bus 2 to Walmart and Bus 5 along Black River Boulevard that includes Rome Hospital. There are detours. Be aware of that. All fares are waived until further notice. Bus 6 to Griffiths is not operating. We do have new information on the Canastota man killed in the storm. Robert Popple was 82 years old. The governor today asked for a moment of silence for him. She says he was outside checking on his antique car when he was killed. Canastota suffered a lot of damage. 3 homes actually collapsed. One of the hardest hit areas is Barlow Street. That's where Popple was. The street has been evacuated. Still ahead here in the broadcast, a local nonprofit has set up an emergency response fund to support storm recovery in Rome.
It does look like a war zone.
We'll tell you what it was like to live through the direct hit from the tornado that ripped through the city. And Decision 2024, Make America Strong Again, the theme of the day for RNC Day 3, former President Trump's new running mate.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Much quieter weather is ahead. We are tracking a cold front that will be bringing some relief from this hot and humid summer we've been having, at least some temporary relief. This is a live look in downtown Utica where the skies have turned cloudy, a temperature of 77. It feels still very humid outside. The cold front itself has not arrived yet. It's going to be approaching from the west this evening. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. What we're seeing out there is some showers. We could see a rumble of thunder with this as this moves through, but there's a lot less energy in the atmosphere today compared to yesterday, and we're not expecting any strong weather that we saw yesterday. As this front continues to move through, the weather is expected to quiet down. And just a reminder for folks that want to look at the storm damage, we're still asking people to avoid Rome. It's a mess, and there's a lot of down power lines, and it's still a pretty dangerous situation to be going there and taking a look. We're expecting, again, we're going to ask folks to sit this out while the crews continue to clean up. Dolgeville, 80 degrees, Little Falls, 81, Deansboro, 74. Across Southern Valleys, again, it's still warm and humid. Oneonta, 75, and Cooperstown with 79. That cold front, again, will continue to move to the east as we head into tonight. And again, a few lingering showers are expected, but we do get a chance to dry out as we get into tonight. Overnight lows will drop down into the 60s. A cooler night might even be able to give the air conditioner a break. We'll start out tomorrow morning with some patchy fog. High pressure builds in, sunshine, a breeze, and a big drop in the humidity. It's going to be a comfortable day and a noticeable change in the air. Temperatures will drop into the 50s as we head into tomorrow night. On Friday, the weather looks really nice. Sunshine, high temperatures climb into the mid-70s. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 61. Tomorrow, looking at a beautiful day. The winds pick up from the west in the afternoon. A very pleasant and comfortable 79 with, again, a noticeable drop in the humidity. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Sunshine as we continue into the weekend. Temperatures do warm up. We'll climb into the low 80s as we look ahead to Saturday and Sunday. It does turn slightly more humid, but not like the last couple of days. High temperatures in the mid-80s on Monday and Tuesday. And next chance of showers and storms Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. We'll be right back.
To Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis in the Weather Center. I know you went out to Rome today. You toured some of the damage. I mean, I can't believe last week we're talking about tornadoes. This week we're talking about tornadoes. It's becoming the norm.
Yeah, we've had two very different events unfold. What happened last week was related to a tropical system, which is almost unheard of in early July. This was because of the extremely warm waters in the Atlantic. What happened yesterday, I wouldn't want to say is typical, but it's more of your standard tornado development that we've seen in the past in New York, where you can sometimes get these random spin-up tornadoes. And with all the devastation, I mean, many folks have seen a lot of the pictures going around, but I found this particular thing to be really fascinating, where there were several cars that had flat tires but only on one side. And just talking to some folks that know engineering a little bit better than I do, one of the ideas is that when the tornado went through, it actually shifted the weight of the car, which ended up causing the tires to lose air. Again, that's at least some of thoughts from some of our local viewers here. Again, our thoughts and prayers go out to all the folks that were dealing with the damage. And again, if you are, we are asking people to avoid this area. It is a mess today. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Some scattered showers continue. This is not going to be anywhere near as intense as what we dealt with yesterday, but it is part of a cold front which will bring some relief. We've had a stretch of hot weather this summer. We are going to get some relief from this. Our dew point's still 68, so it's still very humid out there, but again, as we head into this evening, that cold front arrives, and we're going to feel much more comfortable here over the next couple of days. I'll have a look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Bill, thank you. 2 local nonprofits are collecting money to help storm victims, and we heard from several today.
Everything happened in seconds. It's not even in minutes, it's seconds.
Top stories. Governor Hochul toured the damage in Rome today. Local elected leaders, many of them Romans, walking beside her. The governor says she's deployed 50 National Guard members to Rome and will also push for federal FEMA aid, but the municipal damage has to reach $37 million for that money to flow. The city of Rome is thanking nearby communities for support, and a lot of people are asking what they can do to help. If you are able to donate goods or your time, email volunteer@romecitygov.com. City officials say the needs are still being assessed, but they will get back to you. Management believes an HVAC unit from a neighboring building crashed into Georgian Arms Apartments in Rome, collapsing the 7th floor. Some elderly tenants had to be rescued from beneath debris and rubble. Luckily, they weren't hurt, just some scrapes. Liberty Affordable Housing is putting them up in area hotels. Good evening once again. A Rome business owner was in the direct line of destruction while the tornado was coming through. News Channel 2's Kirk Tupai tells us about that man and the devastation the storm left behind.
This used to be my office.
Dr. Kingsley Kabari is the owner of the former St. Mary's Church on Liberty Street in Rome. The church and his business, located next door to the former church, took a direct hit from Tuesday's tornado.
All of a sudden, I get an alert on my phone. So I went to grab my phone so I can mute it, and I saw it was a weather alert. As soon as I touch my phone, I look at it, that's when it hit. It happened so fast.
Dr. Kabari feels lucky to be alive.
And I was seconds away from getting killed because when I rushed out of my treatment room, trying to open the door, everything was just flying right in. Both wind, any kind of fixture, everything was just flying everywhere. So I quickly ducked.
Dr. Kabari was seeing a patient when the tornado started ripping his building apart. The woman ran to the waiting room to save her children.
My patient pretty much got up the table because she had, she brought her kids and they were in our waiting room. And if you see our waiting room, it's completely gone. How those kids were not killed, just miracle.
Dr. Kabari is now hoping for another miracle, a little financial help from the local community. He and his wife couldn't secure any financing when they bought the business, so they took a chance and invested everything they owned into it.
Our entire 401k was put into this. Everything that I have ever worked for, we put into this. We've taken on huge debts because we believe in what we're doing.
The former school is now a gym, a chiropractic office, spa, and wellness center. Seeing it in shambles was more than Dr. Kabari could take.
I cried most yesterday. I got up this morning at 5 a.m. I cried until I was able to get myself together.
The roof and the damage done to Dr. Kabari's business may have had him in tears, but he's not ready to give up on his clients.
Most of what we do is volunteer. Okay, we don't charge people for a good 90% of what we do because we know that not everybody can afford it, but we're in here for community need.
While his main focus is on his business, they're still concerned for the former church.
It does look like a war zone.
The roof is severely damaged and windows blown out. There's also water damage and almost every doorway has been impacted. Dr. Kabari has been in the process of converting the church into a banquet hall and community center. An architect was scheduled to begin work on the remodel next week, but that's likely not going to happen now.
The thing with the insurance is not going to be enough to cover the damage that's been done to the church. You know, that's a fact. And the reason for that is it's an empty building. We have not developed it yet to where it's going to be functional.
There is a team assessing the destruction to see if fixing the damage is even an option. In Rome, I'm Kirk Tupai reporting for News Channel 2.
A lot of people are outside today seeing the storm damage firsthand. The Capitol Theater, that's all boarded up, as well as a bookstore nearby. Broken glass, downed trees, blocked roads. The one building with that horse rider mural, it collapsed, scattering debris and trapping cars. A block away, Big J's Pizzeria on North James Street was hit hard. The shop lost parts of its roof and their sign blew across the street. The owners say that the community support, though, has been amazing.
It was a gentleman that literally lives across right here above the bar that just was like, you know what, we seen you guys were in a crisis, and he was up on our roof, you know, helping them pull tarps and stuff, and you're like, wow, you know, and then you got ones that come and bring like drinks and ask if they want food.
The community rallied together just a short walk away from the pizza shop. Connected Community Schools was out cooking for the neighborhood. This organization had multiple grills roaring, keeping the hamburgers and the hot dogs coming. The Rome Area Chamber of Commerce wants to hear from businesses. If your business has experienced a financial hardship because of the tornado and needs assistance, you can apply for a grant through the Business Assistance Fund. The application is on the Chamber's Facebook page. And if you're interested in donating to that fund, the Chamber would love to hear from you, too. The United Way of the Mohawk Valley and the Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida counties have each set up emergency funds to help with the recovery in Rome. The United Way is working with the YMCA to make sure dollars get into the hands of the people in greatest need. And the Community Foundation is working with county officials and other nonprofit organizations to do the same. We have the information on donating to both funds at WKTV.com. The B-52 bomber at the base in Rome was knocked off its pedestal. The governor today said it weighs 183,000 pounds. We saw some pictures yesterday. News Channel 2's Kirk Tupai got out there and shot some footage at Griffiths today. You might see this and a lot of other local material on NBC Nightly News tonight. We've been sending them footage. The B-52 logged more than 12,000 hours of flight time in its 31 years. Before retiring and becoming a memorial in 1991. Back to Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
All right, things are starting to quiet down. We have a cold front that's moving through this evening. It is producing some showers in our area. It's still very humid out, but this front is going to bring a drop in the humidity that we've been waiting for. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, some showers taking place from Utica and points south and east. This system is going to move out tonight, and in its wake, we are going to be seeing some much cooler weather. Here's a look at your temperature trends. We're going to be in the 70s for a change on Thursday and Friday. We've had a very warm summer, warmer than average for our area, and we have not had many days in the 70s. So this will be a welcome change for many. The weather does start to warm up by the weekend into the 80s, and the humidity starts to creep back up on Monday. It is this time of the year where we deal with it quite a bit. If you're taking the dog out for a walk this evening, the weather looks pleasant. Again, a couple of sprinkles are possible, but we should see some sunshine before the evening is done. Tonight's featured dog, Cody from Milford. This is brought to you by Nye Automotive Group. We are tracking some nice weather heading into the weekend. A look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
A reminder to upload the Storm Tracker 2 app to your cell phone. This is especially important when you are away from your TV or don't have power. This is how we can get you the emergency weather alerts. Just scan the QR code that you see on your screen. The eyes of the lacrosse world will be fixed on Utica in just a couple of months as the 2024 World Lacrosse Box Championships bring 38.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. We are tracking a cold front that is going to bring a change in the air. We're going to see a big drop in the humidity. We expect a few showers to move through the region this evening, especially south and east of Utica. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The ingredients for any strong weather today has now shifted to the south into Pennsylvania and New England, and you can see here that there's actually a tornado warning for this portion of Pennsylvania. This is out near the Scranton area. So this same weather system is still producing issues, just not locally. And this is going to be moving to the south, and our weather is going to improve as we move forward. There's going to be a big drop in humidity. Current temperature in Oneonta, 73 degrees, cloudy skies with a few sprinkles. Wanted to point out what conditions looked like during the tornado yesterday. This was caught at Rome, the MVCC webcam, where winds were estimated nearby of near 80 miles an hour from the National Weather Service station at Griffiths. And with all this heavy rain, this tornado was what we call rain wrapped. Nobody saw it. I know there's a lot of pictures floating around social media of what the tornado looked like. A lot of those are fake. This, again, wasn't able to be seen very easily due to the heavy rain that was taking place, which makes it that much more concerning when you have a situation like that. Comfortable conditions going forward. A big drop in the humidity is expected, and that air, once it gets here, is going to stick around. We're looking at multiple days towards the end of the week into the weekend where we will not be dealing with much humidity, which will be a nice break from such a hot and humid summer that we've seen so far. 80 degrees in Clinton, Barneveld 76 from our sky watchers, 80 degrees Jeff's temperature in Mohawk, Middleville, Kathy 75, Westford with 77. Again, that cold front continues to move to the east. A few showers this evening, otherwise it's partly cloudy. Overnight lows drop down into the 60s. Thursday, a few clouds in the morning, give way to sunshine. It looks really nice tomorrow. We're expecting sunshine, a breeze, and high temperatures in the mid-70s. Tomorrow night, skies remain clear. Overnight lows drop down into the 50s. We haven't seen that much, very much this summer. And then the weather looks nice on Friday with sunshine and highs in the mid-70s. Partly cloudy tonight, 61 for the overnight low. Tomorrow, partly sunny, 79. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. The weather looks dry into the weekend and early next week, and we will slowly warm up and turn more humid by next week. Looking at some showers and thunderstorms returning Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be right back.
News with Kristen Copeland.
The National Weather Service has confirmed yesterday's tornado in Rome was an EF2 with winds at 135 miles per hour. Rome residents have a long road ahead as the cleanup continues. And before life returns to normal, just ask the tenants of Georgian Arms Apartments in Rome. The storms collapsed part of their building. They lost many belongings, and they don't know how long they'll be living in hotels. News Channel 2's Jolene Ferris reports on some resilient Romans.
Words Georgian Arms Apartments tenant Rudy Beeman never thought he'd utter.
And a piece of roof from the welfare department building came through there and into my apartment. And all my whole living room is destroyed and everything I had in there.
It appears the apartment complex was in the path of a tornado that left Rome in shambles Tuesday. Rudy is probably alive today because he wasn't home yesterday, but many senior and disabled tenants were.
We had some residents that were currently at home at the time that we were able to evacuate. They were under a pile of rubble, but thankfully nobody was hurt. The 7th floor had basically caved in. It had a implosion from a neighboring, I think, an HVAC projectile that caved in the whole 7th floor of the apartments.
Randy Denton could not believe what he was seeing.
I know I was born and raised here, and I would never have expected to see something like this in our lifetime.
In coordination with the Rome Fire Marshal, some tenants went back to get some of their belongings today. Liberty Affordable Housing put them up in area hotels, but they have no idea how long it'll take to make the entire building inhabitable again. Jolene Ferris, News Channel 2.
The path of damage picks up on Court Street, where roofs are being repaired and downed trees slowly being removed from properties, roads, and sidewalks. Fallen transformers and live wires caused holes to form in the asphalt. Incredible. Another resident shares with us his extremely close call.
I was watching from the front porch. You could see the gust front come through. It just kept on getting intense and heavier and rain, and then the wind began to escalate, and it just kept on going. And then my wife says, in the basement. And as we're running to the basement, our phones went off with a last warning. We were down there less than 10 seconds, and from what I thought couldn't have been worse, got louder. Wow. And it was like a train coming through.
The winds were strong enough to not only rip the roof off a house, but the original roof that was underneath it as well. Governor Hochul toured the damage in Rome today. Local elected leaders, many of them Romans, walked beside her along the streets where they grew up. Streets now littered with tree branches and parts of buildings. The governor says she's deployed 50 National Guard members to Rome. She was stunned by the level of devastation and said she's already reached out to the federal government for help.
You cannot imagine the impact of seeing from the sky how vast the destruction is. When you see entire swaths of trees just collapsed like they were toothpicks. Once that is calculated, we can put in a request and ask for a declaration of disaster from the federal government. So the White House is aware. I've already reached out to them. FEMA has been notified.
But the municipal damage has to reach $37 million threshold for the federal money to flow, and those calculations are being made. The governor today asked for a moment of silence for the Canastota man who was killed in the storm. Robert Popple was 82 years old. The governor says he was outside checking on his antique car when he was killed. Canastota suffered a lot of damage. 3 homes actually collapsed. One of the hardest hit areas is Barlow Street. That's where Popple was. The street has been evacuated. The National Weather Service was in town investigating. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis has their findings.
Yeah, they released their preliminary number, calling this an EF2 tornado with winds up to 135 miles an hour. We're still waiting for the damage path. They're going to be releasing their report later this evening. But this is one of the strongest tornadoes that Oneida County has had. Back then it was the F scale, an F2 in 1990. Ironically, that also hit Griffiths Air Force Base at the time. But again, this was, one of the strongest tornadoes in the county. We're going to wait for the results to come out, and when we get that, we will pass it along as soon as we can. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, scattered showers taking place. I also want to mention, too, just in from the National Weather Service in Albany, Hamilton County, they confirmed an EF1 tornado near Wells, which is in the southeastern part of the county. That took place yesterday, winds at 100 miles an hour. Locally, our weather's quieting down. It's still pretty humid out there now, but a cold front is moving through, and that's going to drop the humidity, and we're expecting some very pleasant weather in its wake. We'll see the change take place this evening. Much more comfortable weather ahead. A look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
The city of Rome is thanking nearby communities for support, and a lot of people are now asking what they can do to help. If you are able to donate goods or your time, volunteer at romecitygov.com. That's the email, volunteer at romecitygov.com. City officials say the needs are still being assessed, but they will get back to you. If you live in an area with storm damage and need non-emergency help, you're urged to call the United Way's resource line at 211. You can call 211. You can text 898-211. And the folks on the phone will find you the resources to deal with whatever crisis has been caused by this tornado. Life-threatening emergency, of course, still call 911. An emergency shelter is being operated at 394 Hanger Road. You would access the shelter through Gate 35. The Red Cross is there with cots, water, snacks, and other immediate needs. This is for anyone who feels their home is not safe. It's going to be open 24 hours, and it is pet-friendly.
The county gave us this hangar to use as a shelter for the folks. It's some place where they can sleep overnight, get out of the elements. We'll feed them, give them refreshments, water, snacks.
I drove around, and as we were driving around, we did a tour of all the damages, and people were saying, well, who's that? And we pulled up, and it was just a neighbor that had a vest on, a traffic vest, and he's waving a flashlight and directing traffic. And that's really, that's how Rome is. People are ready to step up and help out any way they can.
And remember, you can email that volunteer email address if you are looking to help out. There is a curfew in Rome tonight, 8:30 p.m. Significant restoration numbers in the last hour, but still 10,000 homes and businesses are in the dark in Oneida County, and 6,700 are in the city of Rome. National Grid has hundreds of outside crews here to assist with power outages. It could take, and prepare yourself for this, it could take a couple of days to fix. They start with the transmission towers, then the substations, and then to individual streets. National Grid says the first order of business is to address emergency areas.
There's still a potential for downed lines, downed wires, and you should consider a downed wire to be live and carrying electricity. Doesn't matter if it's cable, doesn't matter if it's telephone. If you see a downed wire, that could be carrying electricity. That wire has enough electricity carrying through it where it could deliver a fatal shock.
One power line pole can take as much as 4 to 6 hours to replace. National Grid is asking for patience. Centro Bus has resumed operations for a couple of routes, but the Rome Transit Hub is so damaged that you cannot enter the building. Just wait for the bus outside. The service that has resumed includes Bus 2 to Walmart and Bus 5 along Black River Boulevard that includes Rome Hospital. There are detours. All fares are waived until further notice. I do want to mention Bus 6 to Griffiths is not operating right now. Coming up here on News Channel 2 at 6, how the entire community is coming together.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We are tracking some showers rolling through. This is all part of a cold front, which will finally break the humidity and the heat that we've been experiencing for the past several days. This is a live look at the airfield battery, Stern Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The weather is much less intense this evening. We're just tracking some normal showers, very little thunder, lightning with this. All the strong weather is to the south and east of us, where there are some strong storms. But again, this is all moving away, and we will get a chance to dry out heading into tonight and tomorrow. Take a look at this photo. I wanted to share this to give you an example of what it was like during the tornado in Rome. We've had no footages, we have no photos of the funnel because it was wrapped in rain, and that's what makes it so scary when it's raining in the middle of that storm and it's raining so hard you can't see anything. And I also want to point out that there's a lot of fake photos floating around on social media that are claiming that there is a funnel cloud in Rome. Again, this is what the conditions were actually like, and it prevented us from seeing that. Live look in Old Forge, a temperature of 73. We're expecting a drop in the humidity. That will stick around as we head into the rest of the week. Low dew points means it's going to feel comfortable for a change. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the humidity starts to build starting on Sunday, but not too much. Our Skywatchers, Clinton, Bob with 80 degrees. Barneville at 75, Eric in Inlet with 73, Jeff in Mohawk 80, Westford, Dave 77, and Carol in Worcester with 73. Again, this cold front moves to the east tonight, and we do get a chance to dry out. Here's a look at our Stern Tracker 2 Skycast. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the low 60s. On Thursday, clouds give way to sunshine. It looks beautiful, and you're going to notice a drop in the humidity. It's going to feel very comfortable. High temperatures in the mid-70s. It cools off into the 50s tomorrow night. We have not had very many comfortable nights this summer, but tomorrow night will be one of them. Sunshine continues Friday. Pleasant weather, high temperatures in the upper 70s. Partly cloudy tonight, low of 61. Tomorrow, partly sunny, a light breeze, a pleasant day, 79. Stern Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Sunshine continues, a dry and quiet weather pattern for all the folks that are trying to clean up. This is ideal weather. Temperatures will be in the low 80s on Saturday and Sunday. Monday's high 84. It does turn more humid with the chance of showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll be right back.
Yesterday's tornado ripped through the former St. Mary's Church on Liberty Street in Rome and impacted the businesses next door. And one business owner experienced a direct hit from the tornado. He feels lucky to be alive. Here's News Channel 2's Kirk Tupai to tell us about his experience.
Everything happened in seconds. It's not even a minute, it's seconds.
In a matter of seconds, the Kabari Wellness Center in Rome was ripped apart. The roof and windows were blown out and the inside of the building went to pieces. Dr. Kingsley Kabari and everyone in the building were lucky to escape with their lives.
Up to 3 hours after the event, I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk. People were coming here, crying, while a lot of people stopped by crying and hugging me. My only reaction was to cry with them.
Dr. Kabari also owns the former St. Mary's Church next door. That building also sustained extensive damage to the steeple, roof, windows, and interior.
It is insured, but it's not going to be enough to do anything.
This is just a fraction of the amount of damage that's been done, and while the church doesn't appear as though it's going to be able to be saved, local businesses are hoping for the best.
Everybody's trying to see what they can do to help bring this back to what it was. And it's going to take, it's going to take that kind of effort. This is beyond me.
There are 2 people who have set up a GoFundMe page to help Dr. Kabari with his financial recovery. He and his wife have invested everything they own into the business and provide many of their services at deeply discounted rates. Knowing this, his employees are volunteering their time to help with the recovery.
I have to help. I have to. Anything I can do to help you, Doc, I'm here, because he needs all the love and support that he can get.
Even some of the doctor's patients are working on the cleanup because they know how much the doctor gives back to the local community.
It means a lot to me to know that I can come here and help him out and do whatever I need to do to get him back on track to where he needs from, because I know how devastated he is for what happened with this tornado.
In Rome, I'm Kirk Tupai reporting for News Channel 2.
The Rome Capitol Theater took a hit. Businesses around the theater dealing with broken windows, debris cleanup, and flooding. Big J's Pizzeria on North James Street lost parts of its roof, and their sign was blown across the street, but the owners were worried about their staff inside more than anything.
Like, what do I do next? And of course, instantly, is everyone okay? Because at the end of the day, that's what's important, is if our employees are okay. If not, then, I'm just grateful. I'm going to cry. I'm so grateful that they were not injured, because that would have been terrible. Because we think of them more as a family.
The community came together just a block from the pizzeria. They're helping each other. The grills were going. Community schools, connected community schools, serving up hamburgers and hot dogs to the neighborhood. Really feeling that Rome pride. The Rome Area Chamber of Commerce wants to hear from businesses. If your business experienced a financial hardship because of the tornado, there is an application for a grant. You can check that out on the Chamber's Facebook page. And the United Way of the Mohawk Valley and the Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida counties have each set up emergency funds to help with Rome recovery. The United Way is working with the YMCA, and they're making sure the dollars get into the hands of the people in greatest need. The Community Foundation is working with county officials and other nonprofit organizations to do the same. We have the information on donating to both funds at WKTV.com. Coming up, we have Spencer in at the sports station. The Baseball Hall of Fame induction is almost...
With Jolene Ferris.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. New tonight, yesterday's severe storms and tornado have given rise to an unexpected traffic issue that could be putting people's lives and cars in danger, and it's also interrupting and affecting traffic flow. Like most places, Rome is dependent on traffic lights to control transit in the city. Tuesday's storms have knocked out several traffic lights throughout the city, and this is creating a very dangerous situation. Rome police have instructions on what you should do if you come upon a traffic light that is not working.
So we're asking the public to be very cautious when approaching these intersections and treat them as a four-way stop sign. To stop on all sides, yield to the right, use your turn signal, and proceed with caution, and be sure to look for pedestrians, bicyclists in the roadway.
Lieutenant Rood says tickets can be issued for failure to yield the right of way if motorists do not stop at a traffic light that is out. There's no timeline for when all of the traffic lights in the city will be working again. You've seen them out there. National Grid is making progress restoring power to everyone who lost it during yesterday's storms. We understand that's not much of a consolation if yours is still out, but again, progress. National Grid officials explained to us today there is a bit of a hierarchy.
We're looking at those critical facilities, hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, places where people are on life support. We're looking at making sure that the infrastructure that keeps the community running during a situation like this is receiving power, and then we keep moving out till we can get individual homes on.
National Grid is warning people to stay away from downed power lines. One power line pole can take as much as 4 to 6 hours to replace, so National Grid is asking for your patience. They do post estimated restoration times on their website, and we will try to keep you posted on that. Time now for a first look at the forecast. Here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. Hi, Bill.
Jolene, I've got some new information on the path of the tornado that touched down. I want to show you this here. The National Weather Service completing their storm survey, declaring this an EF2 touchdown in Rome with peak winds at 135 miles an hour. Path length, 5¼ miles. The path width was 300 yards. 3 football fields at the max width. Here's where it started, just outside of Muck Road, moving right through downtown, and eventually it moved towards Griffiths, where it did, we believe, hit the National Weather Service observing station, where we picked up a wind speed of 79 miles an hour, and that's when the tornado was weakening. But again, an absolutely incredible amount of destruction here with that EF2 tornado. By the way, an EF3 is 136, so it was a very high-end 2 here. Again, the full report can be found on the National Weather Service. We have a link to that on our Facebook page. Live look at the airfield battery, Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. A couple of sprinkles out there this evening. It is starting to cool off. We've got much nicer weather on the way. Going to look at the forecast coming up. Jolene, back to you.
Thanks, Bill. Governor Hochul toured the storm damage in Rome today. Local elected leaders, many of them Romans, walked beside her along the streets where they grew up, streets now littered with tree branches and parts of buildings. The governor says she's deployed 50 National Guard members to Rome to help with recovery. She was stunned by the level of devastation and promised the state's help.
This is the worst event to ever hit the city of Rome in its long 228-year history. And what's really important for those who are trying to figure out how to manage the whole idea of getting insurance coverage for their properties and their homes. The Department of Financial Services is deploying their disaster strike team, and they'll literally set up a trailer people can walk up to. I've seen it many times, that they can get assistance on how to file their claims, so we'll be there for them as well.
The governor will also push for federal FEMA aid, but the municipal damage has to reach a $37 million threshold for that money to flow. One of the most shocking storm damage images out of Rome was a chunk of Georgian Arms apartments missing from the 7th floor, which collapsed. It becomes more devastating when you consider all of the elderly and disabled tenants who live there. Words Georgian Arms apartments tenant Rudy Beeman never thought he'd utter.
And a piece of roof from the welfare department building came through there and into my apartment. And all my whole living room is destroyed and everything I had in there.
It appears the apartment complex was in the path of a tornado that left Rome in shambles Tuesday. Rudy is probably alive today because he wasn't home yesterday, but many senior and disabled tenants were.
We had some residents that were currently at home at the time that we were able to evacuate. They were under a pile of rubble, but thankfully nobody was hurt. The 7th floor had basically caved in. It had a implosion from a neighboring, I think, an HVAC projectile that caved in the whole 7th floor of the apartments.
Randy Denton could not believe what he was seeing.
I know I was born and raised here, and I would never have expected to see something like this in our lifetime.
In coordination with the Rome Fire Marshal, some tenants went back to get some of their belongings today. Liberty Affordable Housing put them up in area hotels, but they have no idea how long it'll take to make the entire building inhabitable again. The city of Rome is thanking nearby communities for all the support, and a lot of people are asking what they can do to help. If you're able to donate goods or your time, email volunteer@romecitygov.com. City officials say needs are still being assessed, but they will get back to you. The governor today asked for a moment of silence for the man who was outside checking on his antique car when he was killed during yesterday's storms. Robert Popple was 82 years old. Canastota suffered a lot of damage. 3 homes actually collapsed. One of the hardest hit areas is Barlow Street. That's where Popple was, and that street has been evacuated. And coming up on News Channel 2 at 10, our own.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. A cold front has moved through central New York, and we're starting to see a big change in the weather. This is the live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. A few lingering showers continue south of the Mohawk Valley. These are heading east, and we will get a chance to dry out tonight. We are continuing to put the pieces together and collect new information, and tonight I wanted to pass along multiple tornado touchdowns that occurred in New York State. Of course, we've been talking about Rome with the EF2 tornado, but there were also a few just outside of the WKTV viewing area. We do have some people that watch us out this way too. This is in Hamilton County, Oxbow Lake, an EF1 tornado. That's by Pacifico Lake, which is a very popular place to visit in the summer. Wells, also in Hamilton County, an EF1 tornado. These both happen in relatively rural areas, but there was some damage to go along with this. Again, 3 touchdowns, and there could be more. The National Weather Service is continuing to put together the process, and it does take time for storm survey teams to get out and assess damage. So if you do have any substantial damage pictures that you would like to share with them, I have a link provided on our Facebook page where you can go to let them know and submit damage reports. 75 degrees in Old Forge. It is cooling off. The dew point is down. 64, and it's going to continue to fall. The air is going to become very comfortable over the next several days, and we're going to see a stretch of comfortable weather for a change. It has been a hot and humid summer, and this stretch of weather will be something different. Temperatures this evening in the low 70s, Dolgeville 71, across Southern Valleys, 69 in Sherburne, 70 in Cooperstown. We're going to continue to cool off tonight. This cold front continues to march to the east, and our weather clears out. Tonight, overnight lows are expected to hit 60. Tomorrow, sunshine, beautiful, a breeze, and much less humid, with high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. Tomorrow night, it's clear, it's cool. We're down into the 50s. You can open up the windows and cool off the house, give the air conditioner a break. Beautiful day on Friday, sunshine, temperatures in the upper 70s. Partly cloudy tonight, low of 61. Sunshine tomorrow, beautiful, 79 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. The weather stays dry and sunny through the weekend. It does turn increasingly more humid next week. And our next chance of rain, that being showers and thunderstorms, looks to be on Tuesday as well as Wednesday. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Yesterday's tornado ripped through the former St. Mary's Church on Liberty Street in Rome. It's now a business, and the owner feels lucky to be alive. He shared his experience with News Channel 2's Kirk Tupai.
Everything happened in seconds. It's not even a minute, it's seconds.
In a matter of seconds, the Kabari Wellness Center in Rome was ripped apart. The roof and windows were blown out, and the inside of the building went to pieces. Dr. Kingsley Kabari and everyone in the building were lucky to escape with their lives.
Up to 3 hours after the event, I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk. People were coming here, crying, while a lot of people stopped by crying and hugging me. My only reaction was to cry with them.
Dr. Kabari also owns the former St. Mary's Church next door. That building also sustained extensive damage to the steeple, roof, windows, and interior.
It is insured, but it's not going to be enough to do anything.
This is just a fraction of the amount of damage that's been done, and while the church doesn't appear as though it's going to be able to be saved, local businesses are hoping for the best.
Everybody's trying to see what they can do to help bring this back to what it was. And it's going to take, it's going to take that kind of effort. This is beyond me.
There are 2 people who have set up a GoFundMe page to help Dr. Kabari with his financial recovery. He and his wife have invested everything they own into the business and provide many of their services at deeply discounted rates. Knowing this, his employees are volunteering their time to help with the recovery.
I have to help. I have to. Anything I can do to help you, Doc, I'm here, because he needs all the love and support that he can get.
Even some of the doctor's patients are working on the cleanup because they know how much the doctor gives back to the local community.
It means a lot to me to know that I can come here and help him out and do whatever I need to do to get him back on track to where he needs from, because I know how devastated he is for what happened with this tornado.
In Rome, I'm Kirk Tupai reporting for News Channel 2.
Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis is next with your 7-day forecast. Stay with us.